One of the rivalries in college football continues tonight in Gainesville as Will Muschamp takes his team on one final Gator walk before meeting Jimbo Fisher and his Seminoles. It's Florida State and Florida, a house divided in the swamp. Now. Welcome to College Football Primetime, presented by Miller Lite. And welcome to one of the great rivalry games in college football. Here at the Swamp in Gainesville, it's Florida State taking on Florida. Hi again, everyone. Bob Wischusen alongside Bob Davie. Janine Edwards will join us in just a moment. The records of these two teams, not what the fan bases are used to. But it's senior night, it's Gainesville, it's Florida State. This is some kind of atmosphere.
Bob, you're right. On a national level, this game may not be that big, but I promise you, nobody in this state, certainly nobody in this stadium tonight is thinking about that right now. I mean, this game's all about momentum and recruiting. Florida had won 6 straight until last season. All of a sudden, Florida State catches the momentum. They take advantage of that in recruiting. We all know a big part of college football is about who has the best players. This game tonight can impact that for next year.
There might not be a better unit on the field than those down linemen for Florida State. If the Gators are going to start a new streak, they have to find a way to block the Noles.
Yeah, this Florida State defense in their second year under Mark Stoops has become one of the best defenses in the country. And it's all about their front. I mean, they flat attack you. Number 1 in the ACC in tackles for loss. Number 1 in the ACC for sacks. They can dominate a game. Florida cannot be one-dimensional in this game.
For Florida offensively as well, this hasn't just been a transition year to a new coaching staff, but with Charlie Weiss coming aboard as the offensive coordinator, really an entirely new offensive style.
Sure, you're exactly right. I mean, this whole year is a transition year for Florida. Will Muschamp, his first year as head coach. Charlie Weiss here, his first year as offensive coordinator. They're making that switch from the spread under Urban Meyer to a pro-style offense. To complicate it even more, John Brantley, their quarterback, has fought an ankle injury really all the second half of this season.
And if it comes down to kickers, and sometimes these games do, we might have the 2 best in the country in this building tonight.
2 great kickers, but Florida State, this is going to be a defensive game. It'll be a field position game. Florida State has a great punter. They're number 1 in all of college football in net punting. So defense, field position, I think field position is an advantage for Florida State.
If you were a college football fan, where else would you rather be than the Swamp to see the Gators take the field? Just about set for game time here at the Swamp in Gainesville. And somewhere down there in the Swamp is Janine Edwards.
Well, Bob, how important is
short
this game? Floridians live for this game. Recruiting hangs on this game. Former Gator and current Miami Dolphin Mike Pouncey is here tonight. He told me he made it a personal goal from about the age of 10 to play here and win this, because he said this game determines who owns the state. Well, right now the Seminoles have the upper hand. They've already beaten Miami this year. Seminole running back and Jacksonville native Jermaine Thomas said, hey, if we could beat Miami and Florida 2 years in a row, that's something that would stay with me forever. Bob?
Well, Janine, if that did happen, if Florida State won tonight, that would be back-to-back kind of quote-unquote Florida State titles for the Noles for the first time since 1998-99. That's the last time they had simultaneous 2-game winning streaks at least against the Gators and against the Canes.
And just looking at the specifics of this game, this will be a low-scoring defensive game. These are 2 really good defenses. And for Florida to win, sure, it has to be a low-scoring game. I think Florida State probably has more capability on offense because of E.J. Manuel to score more points. but I don't think either team is going to score a whole lot.
Florida State won the toss, deferred their option of the second half. So you saw it's Jeff Demps back to receive the opening kick as the Gators will begin on offense. And it's an offense this year that has struggled. Dustin Hopkins will kick it off. 26 touchbacks on 73 kickoffs so far this year. A powerful leg. And that'll be touchback number 27 as Demps takes a knee. Well, it was really nice to hear, Coach, the ovation that John Brantley got coming out to start tonight's game. It's senior night. So he comes out of the tunnel and the swamp went crazy. And you wouldn't necessarily think that would be the case with what he's been through since coming to Gainesville.
Yeah, Charlie Weis told us on the conference call Tuesday, John Brantley kind of became the scapegoat for the problems Florida had last year, particularly from the fans. It's a big game for him tonight. Senior night at home. You see him under center. That ankle's healthy.
Great play action fake by Brantley. Wants to go up top on the first play of the game. Into double coverage, and it's knocked away. Intended for Andre DuBose. No flag out. Greg Reed was there in coverage, and he had help from LaMarcus Joyner.
Well, Charlie Weis told me before the game on the field he was going to be aggressive. A little bit of a double move right there. Really good coverage. Maybe could have been a pass interference right there.
You like that call, Charlie Weis taking a shot on the opening play of the game?
Well, I think everybody thinks you're going to really be conservative, play it close to the vest against this talented Florida State defense. Pretty good call. Sends a message.
Second down and 10. They want the screen for Rainey. Gets to the edge, and he is hauled down. Could have been a face mask. It looks like he lost a yard as we take a look at tonight's impact players, brought to you by Chick-fil-A.
A lot of speed on the field, obviously, for Florida. These two running backs, first of all, Chris Rainey, he has a little more shake, a little bit more make you miss. Jeff Demps, kind of a straight line, really, really fast guy. And on defense for Florida State, one of their defensive ends, both of them are really good, but Brandon Jenkins is a factor. And we're going to see that right here on 3rd and 11.
Delay of game now called.
Well, with the offense, 5-yard penalty, 3rd down.
Now it's 3rd down and 16. And all too often, Coach, all too often last year, this was the circumstance that John Brantley was brought into. The offense goes backwards on 1st and 2nd down. They kind of hit him on the back and said, all right, 3rd and 12. John, go get him.
Well, Will Muschamp said it best. He said it's been a case really all year of Florida beating Florida. And right now, you're just thinking field position if you're Florida.
4-man rush. A swing pass to Rainey. And he has nowhere to go. So the penalty hurts the Gators on the opening possession. Mike Harris comes up to make the stop. And the Gators go backwards, and they'll be forced to punt.
Florida State with a chance right here to really gain some field position. Florida's young punter, Cal Christie, has been erratic all year. Greg Reed, an excellent return man for Florida State.
Christie gets away a wobbly kick. It'll take a hop and fielded on the bounce, saving some field position. A good job by Greg Reed as he just about gets to midfield. Out of bounds at the 48-yard line, so great field position to begin after only a 41-yard punt. E.J. Manuel at quarterback for Florida State so far this season. 16 touchdowns against 8 interceptions. He has only made 15 career starts, and he was bit with the injury bug earlier on this season, got knocked out of the Oklahoma game.
really has bailed Florida State out. They've had a lot of injuries on the offensive line. His ability to make plays has bailed them out all season long.
And off to the true freshman, Devontae Freeman. And he is walloped after a gain of about 2.5 by Jonathan Bostic as we take a look at the impact players brought to you by Chick-fil-A.
This is really a good defense for Florida. I think Florida State has to be balanced. Burt Reed's played a lot of football for Florida State. Devontae Freeman, the freshman running back, we just saw him. And on defense for Florida, Matt Elam, playmaker, strong safety, nickelback, gives them a lot of flexibility.
Elam up in the box. And as a result, Manuel might be changing the play call on 2nd and long. Here comes the blitz. Manuel goes down. All the way back inside the 40-yard line. Dominique Easley, untouched.
Well, Florida State doing a lot of checking at the line of scrimmage. They're just going to turn easily loose right there. You can see obvious miscommunication. And Bob, you said it. Matt Elam up on the line of scrimmage for Florida. E.J. Manuel tried to check that play. Not everybody got the communication.
Florida was stuck with 3rd and 17 on their first possession. Now the Noles have it 3rd and 18, and the play clock winding down. They barely get the snap off. 4-man rush. High throw. It's caught in plus territory, but well shy of the first down by at least 4 yards to Christian Green. So it changes field position, but the Noles will most likely have to punt.
Boy, some talented young players on this field. You're going to see Christian Green, a freshman out of Tampa, go up and just make a play right here. And you're right. It's not a first down, but it is a big factor as far as just the field position game. It's the #1 punter in all of college football right here for Florida State.
Sean Powell, #1 of the country in gross and net average, and he hangs this one up in the clouds. Deontay Saunders makes a fair catch at the 12-yard line. Good job by Florida State to change field position. And the Gators back to the offense when we come back to Gainesville. Bob Wischusen, Bob Davie, and Janine Edwards back in Gainesville. Just underway between Florida State and Florida, and the Gators are backed up inside their own 15-yard line. Backed up no longer. There goes Chris Rainey. Out across the 20 to about the 23-yard line. That's a gain of 11 and a first down for the Gators.
Yeah, good wraparound block right there by the left guard, number 56, Wenger. See Florida's plan. It's going to be run north and south and then throw the ball down the field off play action.
Now it's Jeff Demp's turn, and he goes nowhere. Thrown down by a run blitz at the 20-yard line. Telvin Smith knifes through to make the stop.
Yeah, Telvin Smith, an undersized linebacker, really looks like a defensive back. You're going to see him right here just come underneath. One thing, if you're going to come underneath, you better make the play. But great explosiveness right there.
Sets up 2nd down and 13.
Take a look at Mark Stoops right there. Has really done an outstanding job.
The bubble screen to Rainey. Dangerous in the open field. Scoots up the sideline and picks up about 6. It'll still be 3rd down and long for the Gators. 3rd and about 8, close to 9 at their own 25-yard line. And coach, that punt that we saw a moment ago from Sean Powell, I mean, it could be that kind of a game. Move the ball, change field position, get one of these offenses that's struggling, pinned inside their own 20-yard line, and hope your defense makes a play.
That's exactly what kind of game this is, and that's why Florida State, from the standpoint of having that great punter, has an advantage. Right now,
makes 3rd and 8 that much more important. Brantley, long throw to the sideline, intercepted by Greg Reed. Brantley tried to throw that one a mile across the field to Quentin Dunbar, and an easy interception, first of the year for Reed.
Yeah, you're going to see Florida cuts their splits down. They have a lot of grass to the outside. They run an outside route, and that ball just hangs too long. When a player like Greg Reed, he just turns into the receiver. Very fortunate that wasn't an interception for a touchdown right there. But that's where you talk about field position. That's not a bad situation. You just run a draw and punt that ball.
They run the option. Manuel. He's hit from behind. No gain on first down. Jay Howard tracked Manuel down the line of scrimmage, but it's exactly what we talked about. You play field position, hope your defense makes a play, and the Noles defense makes a play.
Yeah, be realistic. Not that you fear Florida State's defense, but certainly respect Florida State's defense on 3rd and long. You're not going to throw the football east and west clear across that field in that situation.
Four-man rush on 2nd and long. Manuel looking towards the end zone. And it's incomplete. Through the hands of Matt Elam, who was playing center field, and he almost had an interception.
And Matt Elam is a great player. His brother was recruited by Urban Meyer and myself when I was at Notre Dame. Ball should have been thrown to the deepest part of that end zone. Underthrown by E.J. Manuel. When you got a guy like that back there in center field that can also come up in the box and be the 8th man and be a blitzer, you see the kind of versatility Matt Elam gives this Florida defense.
Elam mistimed his jump just a bit, or it could have been a pick at the goal line. Play clock down to 5 on 3rd and long. Again, a four-man rush. Manuel underneath. Burt Reed's got it at the 10-yard line, and he's got a first down. Down to the 9-yard line, so it's 1st and goal, Florida State, a 3rd and long conversion.
Really good pass protection. I mean, this all starts with the pass protection. Florida playing a little soft, playing a little lethargic. At corner, Jalen Watkins. At some point, you need to know that down in distance. And he just kind of bailed out of there. Never really contested the throw or was in position to make the tackle short of the sticks.
1st and goal, up the middle goes Freeman. Inside the 5, down to about the 2-yard line. It's blocked by the center, Brian Stork, to free up Devontae Freeman. It's 2nd down and goal.
A really good vision right there by Freeman. Backside linebacker Jelani Jenkins overran it, anticipating the ball to come out the front side. Freeman just cut it back.
They mark him down just inside the 3. Freeman again. Met at about the 2. Might have moved the pile just inside. It'll be 3rd down and goal. All right, so what's the call on 3rd and goal? Do you test the middle of that Florida defense again, or is this a play action, get Manuel outside the pocket?
I think it's definitely a play action down, but you know, Florida State, this sounds funny down here this tight. They're a big screen team. This is not a bad wide receiver screen. Just get the ball out there and see if a wide receiver can make a play.
In motion, Burt Reed, fake the trap. Manuel tries to do it himself. Launches at the goal line. Is he in? No signal yet. The officials might be marking him down at about the 6-inch line. Now a flag comes out.
I'm not sure that ball didn't come out. That might be a fumble.
Still no signal from any of the officials.
If that ball didn't clear the plane of the goal line, that could be a fumble. That ball's out. He lost control of that ball before he got to the plane of the goal line.
It looks like he got it back, but not in the end zone.
I think it's going to be 4th and goal at the 1-yard line.
It might be 4th and goal at about the 1-inch line.
Yeah, maybe a little bit tighter. We've got a great angle of it. Right there, he lost control of the ball. Yeah, Bob, you're right. I mean, it's going to be...
I think he got it back, Coach, but when he regains possession of the football, the ball is not anywhere near the goal line. It's at least a foot short, and that's where the ball should be dead.
Yeah, and obviously this is where replay plays the critical role.
Now let's also remember the flag, depending on which team it's on the altercation after the call needs to be made, could drastically impact where the ball is placed.
It drastically affects Florida State. For Florida, it's half the distance to the goal. It will be about 3 inches.
The ruling on the field, there was a fumble. It was recovered by Florida State. After the play, dead ball, personal foul, number 7 of the defense. That will take the ball half the distance, automatic first down.
That automatic first down is what kills you.
One more look.
That's a great job by the official. And that ball is out, obviously. E.J. Manuel will recover it right there. Let's see if we can see the late personal foul.
And, Coach, to give the officials all the credit in the world, they just made that call without the benefit of replay.
Exactly
that was
right.
just the conference on the field, and they nailed it. So now it's 1st and goal from about 6 inches away from the goal line. And now they might have to go upstairs. No, it looks like Florida is going to call a timeout on defense. And it might have been Will Muschamp that called that timeout from the sideline.
Talk about Florida beating Florida. Like Will Muschamp said, that personal foul was big.
Now they are going to review the previous play. We'll step aside. Welcome back to college football primetime on ESPN. Here's the call.
Stand. First down, Florida State.
They went to review while we were away. And as we said just before we went to commercial break, the officiating crew did a terrific job of adjudicating the entire play. They got it right, they got the spot right, and they also got Ronald Powell for the personal foul that gives Florida State a fresh set of downs. 1st and goal. The freshman takes it in. Devontae Freeman for the touchdown.
Two critical mistakes. Obviously the interception by Brantley. And then the personal foul on Ronald Powell. Florida State just in kind of a jumbo package right here. Just runs the off-tackle power.
So the Greg Reed interception turns into 7 for Florida State. And with 6.5 minutes to go in the opening quarter, Florida State strikes first. It's 7-0 Noles. And it's time now to bring you our rivalry history, brought to you by Sprint. And this one's pretty even. Now, Florida leads the series by 13 up top, but look at the last 37 matchups. Obviously, the Gators dominated early, and there have been waves. The Gators dominated of late. Florida State winning last year for the first time in 7 games, but 18-1 over the last 37 matchups. That's about as dead even as it gets.
Yeah, and as amazing as that, it kind of makes sense. We had a graphic a little earlier about how many high schools in this state right now have a player on the Florida and the Florida State team.
This is a great number. 18 different Florida high schools are represented on both teams. A total of 56 players that cumulatively were high school teammates.
So that means Sunday, both these teams' seasons are over until the bowl game. These kids all go home. That's why this game is personal. It really doesn't matter that either team is ranked right now. This is about personal. It's all personal.
Jeff Demps deep to receive the kick from Dustin Hopkins. Let's see if Demps tries to bring this one out. Nope. He'll have to take a knee after muffing it about 3 yards deep. You can join host Reese Davis and analysts Kirk Herbstreit and Craig James for BCS Countdown Sunday night as they unveil the latest BCS polls and analyze who are the contenders and who are the pretenders. BCS Countdown presented by Tostitos on ESPN Sunday at 8:15 Eastern and continues on ESPNU at 9 Eastern. And Coach Davey, we are on a collision course towards a rematch. It's hard to imagine at this point it's not going to be LSU and Alabama.
That means 12-10. They were 9-6 the last time.
No, that's the high-scoring version. Rainey tries to turn the corner. Lowers his shoulders, gets to the 26-yard line for a gain of about 6 as Mike Harris bumps him down.
It's really critical that Florida doesn't give up on the run. Florida State's one of those teams, I mean, they talk you out of running the ball just because of the way they look up front on that front four. But Florida has to be patient, keep running it. You can't be one-dimensional. Those stats say it all. Now think, a lot corresponds with who you played in September. Right out of the box, they ran up and down the field on a couple early teams.
Hand off to Demps this time. As Demps lost a yard. See, Coach, now you're letting the facts get in the way of a good story. That graphic was supposed to be an ooh and ah graphic for the folks at home, and you ruined it.
Florida State, they look again like the old Florida State defenses under Mickey Andrews. I mean, that front four lines up in three-point stances. Athletic-looking guys that just fly off that ball. And Florida has to find a way just to slow them down. And getting in these 3rd and longs is not the answer.
3rd down and 5. 4-man rush. Brantley underneath into traffic, and that one's almost intercepted. Intended for A.C. Leonard. Vince Williams was there in coverage, so Florida has now run 10 total plays, 3 of which have been for negative yards, and they're going to have to punt again from their own end.
And this offense comes in 91st in the country in total offense, but the bigger statistic, turnover margin, they're 108th. So they've turned the ball over a lot. It's one thing to be a little anemic on offense. It's another thing to turn it over.
They were 108th before the interception by Reed. And that punt kind of deadens at the 40-yard line and rolls down to the 36. And some words exchanged again between old friends, the Gators and Knowles. 5 minutes to go in the first. As the Jets broadcaster, I have to say, that's cruel. To give me some Tebow on the way in. I mean, I know where we are. We're at the Swamp and all that, but the guys in the truck have to recognize who's working the game.
So you got a little bit of that Thursday night.
Oh, we got Tebowed about as bad as you can. End around as Rashad Green tries to get loose, and he'll lose a bundle. All the way back inside the 25-yard line, brought down by Jalen Watkins.
There's some speed on that field. Matt Elam was the first to get great penetration. Kicks that football out to Jalen Watkins. Tough to run east and west on either one of these teams. Matt Elam redirects it. Really a good tackle in the open field right there by Jalen Watkins. But Bob, we did the Nebraska-Iowa game yesterday. You can quickly see the difference in speed between those 4 teams.
2nd down and 22 after the 12-yard loss. Hand off to Freeman. And that'll be 3rd down and a mile.
Anytime you try to do something on 1st down that's different, kind of a high-risk play, if it doesn't work, you put yourself in these situations right here.
Jay Manuel gets his team set for 3rd down and 19 from inside their own 27-yard line. And they'll play to punt as Freeman spins up the middle. But clearly a conservative play call from James Coley, the offensive coordinator, and Jimbo Fisher. So Florida will get the football back. And you sense it, Coach, with these two defenses and how good they are and the playmakers they have. 1 negative play, and it seems like neither offense going to take a big chance.
Well, Florida is known for coming after the punter. You see Florida State in this shield protection here.
Wobbly kick from Powell. Takes a bounce, so it's fielded by Saunders. Makes the first man miss. Deontay Saunders breaks another tackle. Close to the 42-yard line before he's finally brought down. A 19-yard return after a 45-yard punt.
And he pretty much did that on his own. The punt was not a great punt. It bounces. He just makes a play right here. Boy, close to a horse collar tackle right there on Florida State would have been 15 more yards. Good play action down right here for Charlie Weis.
Great field position for Florida at their own 42-yard line. They'll keep it on the ground with Rainey. Spins out of a tackle. And maybe picked up a half yard. Worked hard for it this week on Monday Night Football. It's a battle of NFC contenders. Eli and the Giants will take on Drew Brees and the Saints. Giants Saints on ESPN's Monday Night Football. 8:30 Eastern. Also available live on Watch ESPN. Coverage begins at 7 Eastern with Monday Night Countdown served by Applebee's, as Eli is playing about as well as Drew Brees this year. It's a terrific matchup on Monday night. 2nd down and 10. Draw play. Up the middle goes Rainey. And it'll be 3rd down and long now. Picked up about 1.5 yards as we check in with Janine.
Well, Bob, trying to get something going for this Florida offense, the running backs coach was telling running back Jeff Demps, hey, don't be making those lateral moves. You are faster than everybody out here. Use your speed.
That might be a coach trying to build a player's confidence. There's no question Jeff Demps might be the fastest guy on the field, but he's not as separated in terms of speed as he might be other weeks, because Florida State's got some speed on their defense too.
Yeah, and that's what Charlie Weis said. You know, they've had success running the ball when teams aren't as athletic as them or as fast as them. That's not the case tonight.
Brantley might be able to run for it on 3rd and long. Instead throws it high, and he's got a man. A.C. Leonard comes across the middle, and he's got a 1st down to the 33-yard line of the Seminoles.
Talk about some young, talented players. This is another freshman right here out of Jacksonville, A.C. Leonard. Bob, I thought what you thought initially. I thought Brantley could have run for the 1st down. Anytime that quarterback breaks contain, starts to move, everything breaks down in the secondary. A.C. Leonard, a good-looking young player.
Brantley might have to call a timeout, and instead Will Muschamp does it for him from the sideline, as Florida couldn't get lined up and the play clock was winding down.
Well, Florida, actually went to the pistol offense with John Brantley in the shotgun for a big part of the year after he sprained his ankle because he didn't have the mobility to get back from center. So they've been through a lot of little schemes, in addition to making the major transition from spread to the pro style.
And Charlie Weis actually said that before John Brantley got hurt in the Alabama game, he felt as if maybe he had rehabilitated him mentally to the point that he was really going to take off, and that he felt as well in that Alabama game that he was lighting up the Alabama defense about as much as he has lit up any defense so far this year. And that's saying something. That's the best defense in the country. Just really unfortunate that he would go down with that injury. And we actually can take a look back at what might have been, to a certain extent, the turning point for the Gators in what is now a 6-5 year.
Yeah, really playing well early against Alabama. Right there, you see it was a severe ankle injury. And from that point on, the Florida offense really had no chance.
They have 2 young true freshman quarterbacks, Jacoby Brissett, Jeff Driscoll, both highly touted, that Will Muschamp says he has high hopes for, but neither with the playing experience of John Brantley, obviously. So now after the timeout, 1st and 10, draw play to Demps. And Demps waffled at the line. No chance to get away from Brandon Jenkins.
Yeah, and Florida State that time, just playing with 5 in the box. So if you're a play caller or a schemer, you think, hey, we got them outnumbered. But, no chance. They're getting stoned at the line of scrimmage. Again, this is the number 7 total defense in both scoring and total defense against the rush. They're 3rd in the country. They only give up 84 yards a game rushing.
2nd down and 11. Play action for Brantley. They roll the pocket. A little wheel route down the sideline into triple coverage. And it is intercepted. Heading down the sideline with a convoy goes Mike Harris. He might go all the way. Harris inside the 10, cuts it back, and he's down at the 4. Great hustle by Deontay Thompson to save a touchdown. But a terrible decision as John Brantley throws one up for grabs.
Bob, you said it. That is a terrible decision. There were 4 Florida State players. If we let this roll, do a little play action, try to throw the backside wheel route. Clearly right here, he's double covered. Now there's 4 guys covering him. I mean, throw it out of bounds. I mean, Florida had good field position. No reason to throw that ball.
1st and goal inside the 4, and what might be the final play of the quarter. Manuel gives to Freeman. 2nd effort got him to the 2, and that will take us to the end of the 1st quarter with the Gators trailing by 7 and trying to prevent going down 2 touchdowns, as they are -2 in the turnover ratio in the opening quarter. They are now -10 for the season. A terrific rivalry game between the Noles and the Gators, but it's in that Seminole defense that has made the big plays so far. Welcome back to college football primetime in the SEC on ESPN. Start of the 2nd quarter, 2nd and goal for Florida State. And again, it's the true freshman, Devontae Freeman, right at the goal line. No signal from the officials yet. Jonathan Bostic came up to make the stop, and apparently he got Freeman down just before he broke the plane. So now it'll be 3rd down and goal, as Florida State tries to turn 2 interceptions in the 1st quarter by John Brantley into a 2-touchdown lead.
Florida State with the big defensive end lined up as fullback, Warner.
Freeman again pushes the pile into the end zone for another touchdown.
Again, just the off-tackle power. Big defensive end. Warner is the lead blocker. You know, Florida's a good defensive football team, but Florida's offense has given Florida's defense no chance to be a factor in this game. I mean, Florida's 17th in total defense, and that's playing with an offense all season that has really struggled.
And now you've got an injury to worry about as well. Dominique Easley, who had the sack on the opening possession for Florida State, not even able to put any weight on that left leg. So the Gators about to lose potentially a sophomore defensive tackle that has 8 tackles for loss this season. That's a blow to their interior. But you're right, Coach, can't do much about 1st and goal at the 4 when your quarterback throws what turned out to just about be a punt interception, taking 89 yards back inside the 5-yard line. And it's 14-0 Noles, 14 points off turnovers.
It doesn't matter how much emotion, how much energy, how bad you want it. If you're this Florida team, if your quarterback just throws 2 bad interceptions, you take all emotion out of the game. Here's the first one right here. Remember, this is a 3rd and long. That's just stealing right there. Fortunate that wasn't a touchdown. Now the second one, not 2 guys covering him, 4. I will say Deontay Thompson, give him credit, the wide receiver right here, for just tracking him down and keeping that from being a touchdown. And we'll get a chance right here again as this thing unwinds. But Bob, what do you call 4 guys? That's quadruple coverage? You just can't throw that.
I wasn't good at math. I think quadruple, though, is correct. But you're right. There's the effort player, as Deontay Thompson did all he could to try and prevent a touchdown.
Yeah, I love the effort right here. But it all goes for naught. Be interesting as this game goes on now. Where's John Brantley in this game? And if you're Charlie Weis, how do you calm him down, settle him down? You have to run the ball. But with Florida State up 14-0, the kind of talent they have on that front 7, that's a tough task.
The Gators so far with 4 possessions, 15 plays, 2 turnovers, leading directly to Florida State touchdowns. So Will Muschamp's team is down by 2 scores. drive kick. Returnable on the hop to Demps. Pounded down at the 15-yard line. Davis Comack made the stop, and get ready for bowl season with the ESPN Bowl Bound app, featuring video news and analysis, the latest BCS standings, and weekly projections. ESPN's Bowl Bound app, free on iPhone and Android. Text BOWL to 43776 to download. And bowl season is just about upon us. We are 3 weeks away from what is basically a month-long festival of college football that we'll have for you on ESPN.
I'm hoping you get that New Mexico Bowl.
Why?
I may come down and help you a little bit.
A little bit of quality time?
Oh, yeah. We may do a 3-man booth.
Wow, that would be exciting. Play action for Brantley. Here comes the blitz. Steps up in the pocket. Fires a strike. He's got A.C. Leonard. Well, that's going to be a confidence booster for the senior quarterback after the 2 interceptions. Dodges the rush and gets the ball out close to his own 40-yard line, a gain of 23.
You know, Bob, maybe the best thing that happened is just what you said. He has to dodge the rush. He doesn't have a whole lot of time to think about it, and just instinctively steps up and throws that ball without thinking a lot. You know, sometimes you can think way too much. That's a great peel-back block right there. But when you're struggling, sometimes the best thing is to have to just step up and make a play without thinking about it. And that time, Brantley did it.
A moment ago, it was Rainey helping on blitz pickup, and now he gets the carry and a gain of 6 on first down. Terrence Parks made the stop, but it'll be 2nd down and 4 for Florida after we check in with Janine.
Well, Bob, when this Florida offense was on the bench a few moments ago, for the first time in this game, head coach Will Muschamp came over to them and he said, guys, I need 110% effort for 60 minutes now. He's like, you've got to work hard this entire game. And the O-line coach, more than anything, was telling them to keep it simple and just stay on assignment.
Let's see if they can accomplish that on 2nd down. And close to 5, and that time an errant throw by Brantley, intended for Deontay Thompson. So now it's 3rd down again.
Just a timing route. I mean, that's stealing if you just 3-step drop, but the receiver out of sync that time, Deontay Thompson, with the 3-step drop. There was no place to throw it. The receiver wasn't ready to make the play, so Brantley had to double hitch.
3rd down and 4.5 for a quarterback that's thrown 2 interceptions, leading to a couple of touchdowns for the opposition in a big rivalry game. It's 2 minutes gone by in the 2nd quarter. This is a big play for John Brantley.
Yeah, and interestingly, he's under center right here, not back in the shotgun.
Only 1 safety deep as they show blitz. And he floats one to the near side. That might be interception number 3. And Greg Reed has his 2nd pick. A senior night disaster so far for John Brantley. 3 turnovers for the Gators. John Brantley came into tonight with a streak of 114 passing attempts without an interception. And having thrown only 3 interceptions so far this year, he's thrown 3 in the first half.
Yeah, if we watch this, you're going to see Big Dawkins right here is going to get an inside move on the guard. Brantley never sets his feet. Look how he throws that. No rotation at all on the ball. I'm not even sure he was throwing it to.
I think it was raining, but it was 4 feet over his head and wobbly. And now E.J. Manuel looks to attack after the interception. He throws one up for grabs, and it floats out of bounds over the head of Rashad Green.
You can only imagine what's going through the mind of John Brantley over there on that sidelines. The pressure he had last year, taking over for Tebow. The year was a disaster for him. Comes back this year. Everybody says, well, the whole thing is he wasn't fit for that offense. We get him in a pro offense, he'll have great success this year. That really hasn't been the case. Plus, he's coming off the injury, but just the mindset of what he has to play through here as this game develops against a great defensive front.
4-man rush for the Gators on 2nd down. Manuel, well protected. Now the pocket collapses, and this Gator defense has a chance to take the momentum back and possibly erase that 3rd interception. Ronald Powell gets the sack. He leads the team. That's his 5th sack of the season. But now it's 3rd down and long.
Well, anytime you get that kind of coverage in the secondary, a great young pass rusher like Ronald Powell, That's really good effort. Just give this Florida defense a chance to play. Just let them play, and they'll keep Florida in this game.
3rd down and 16. Can the Gators get off the field? Devontae Freeman spins out of a tackle but comes up at least 4 yards shy of a first down. Saunders made the stop. So a chance for Florida State to pin Florida deep with a punt, but a good job by the Gator defense after the 3rd interception to force a 3 downs and out.
I'll tell you what.
Is that the
Jimbo,
continuing education of a quarterback there?
he shows his emotion. It's like E.J. Manuel's the one calming Jimbo down over there half the time. That was really a good call right there. Just run that little trap draw up in there and punt the ball.
Powell to punt.
Wow.
And he throws this one way up in the air. And his special teams keep it out of the end zone.
That's good.
And they do. At the 1-yard line. Perfectly done by the Noles. Telvin Smith downfield to down it at the 1 after a 45-yard punt. And a 2-touchdown lead for Florida State.
ESPN's College Football Primetime. Brought to you by Mini. Exhilaration runs in the family. Learn more at miniusa.com/info. And the Home Depot. More saving, more doing. That's the power of the Home Depot.
One of the loudest ovations that any Florida senior got on senior night was John Brantley when he came out of the tunnel. That before the game, but now he has thrown 3 interceptions. 2 have been turned into touchdowns by Florida State, and the Gators are backed up to their own 1-yard line where they start this drive. And now motion in the line. Was that jumping off sides by Brandon Jenkins? Did he cause the false start by Green?
It's always a good spot for the offense to use a cadence, because obviously if it's a false start, it doesn't hurt you a whole lot.
Offsides on the defense. Number 49 entered the neutral zone, causing the offense to react. 5-yard penalty. Remains first down.
It's good coaching right there. That's a great opportunity to really change that snap count, because those 5 yards down there, they're like 20 yards out in the open field.
Not to mention the fact that when your quarterback is struggling, 1st and 5 inside your own 10-yard line sounds a whole heck of a lot better than 1st and 10. Florida State loads up the box, and Gillislee gets bumped inside the 5.
You know, one of the problems Florida has obviously in this transition from spread is, you know, who's the bigger back, who's the big tailback type. But you know what? If you don't block anybody, it doesn't matter if the guy's 175 pounds like these two, or you put a 240-pound guy in. I mean, that was just target practice in the hole for Florida State.
That's the 5th offensive play in the first half for Florida that has gone for negative yards. And it's 2nd and 6.
Florida State leads the ACC in tackles for losses.
And now they go with the fullback, and they bust free. Hunter Joyer has a first down. All the way out to about the 27-yard line before he's brought down. A true freshman fullback picks up 23 yards.
The old fullback trap. The fullback's a dying breed. You're going to see the guard pull around here on the little trap play, and you hit it north and south with the fullback. Just creased it. I mean, just by a fraction right there. The big fullback back in the game.
Only his 9th carry of the year.
Now's a play action pass down right here.
Instead, it's raining. 1.5 yards, maybe 2. It'll be 2nd down and 8 for the Gators at their own 30, but at least they're not backed up against their own goal line the way they were a moment ago, down 2 touchdowns.
That was a big play. You can imagine Charlie Weiss right now trying to call these plays. You've got a quarterback that's in the tank right now with 3 interceptions. You know you're not going to run it for much. You really need to play action. But do you trust your quarterback enough with the mental state he's in to throw it? So what's the easiest thing that your quarterback feels the most comfortable doing? Right now, he's just afraid to throw it.
And there they go with the belly option out of the Wildcat. They brought Trey Burton in at quarterback, and he handed one off to Chris Rainey as we check in with Janine.
Well, guys, you had mentioned how John Brantley was so mentally beaten down last year, and that's one thing that Charlie Weiss has been working with him on during this game. Nobody has spoken to Brantley on the bench, other than Charlie Weis. Not necessarily trying to calm him down, but trying to boost him up, trying to build his confidence. And after that last series where he came off the field was the first time I saw him get a high five from another player.
Well, now it's 3rd down and 6. He wants a high five here if he can keep the drive alive. As DeBose goes in motion, they throw it backwards to DeBose, and he'll unload one downfield. And that'll be pass interference. Deontay Thompson had a step, and that'll be a 15-yard penalty against Florida State, but that's better than about a 60-yard touchdown.
Charlie Weis just trying to create a play. No confidence right now in just the traditional kind of offense. In 3rd down, he goes with a little flare screen. DeBose puts some air under this ball now. That looked like a punt.
Pass interference. Number 4 of the defense. 15-yard penalty from the previous drive. Automatic first down.
Yeah, Terrence Parks, Bob, you said it. Really a pretty good decision right there. How do you like that rule? NFL compared to college football. Do you like it to just be a 15-yard penalty, or do you like the whole yardage assessed like they do in the NFL?
You know, it's funny. That play right there is an example that would hurt my argument, but I like the 15 yards. I think often in the NFL, they just throw a bomb hoping for a flag because it could be a 45-yard penalty.
I agree.
At the same time, though, the 15-yard penalty there doesn't really show you how damaging that play would have been. Underthrown ball. A.C. Leonard. Does he have his 3rd catch of the game? He does. To the 35-yard line. Well, this is a team without Jordan Reed, who was their leading receiver at tight end. A.C. Leonard filling in tonight as the starter. He's had a great night so far.
Well, you're going to see Brantley, an inside move right here, takes a hit. Give him credit. Give him credit. Carradine, the defensive end, put a pretty good lick on him. We mentioned Jordan Reed, their leading receiver, not playing tonight to tight end.
Play action again for Brantley. Finds some time. Check down underneath to Demps, and he's down to the 26-yard line. That's a gain of about 8 yards, close to 9 on 1st down, and that obviously was not where Brantley originally wanted to go with that throw.
Play of the game so far. Who would have ever guessed the fullback trap out of the I formation? Got the Florida Gators rolling. Kind of like to think about taking a shot right here, waist down on 2nd down, but you're not sure you can come back on 3rd down and convert against this defense. Probably be conservative and just run it.
And they will with Rainey, and it's going to be 3rd down nonetheless. Cornelius Carradine comes through and dumps Rainey for a loss of 3.5, close to 4 yards, and 2nd down and 1 becomes 3rd down and about 5.
You're going to watch Carradine right here. He just whips the tight end. He's the outside defensive end right there. I mean, the tight end just on his own, and that's A.C. Leonard, a freshman. That's where Jordan Reed not in there hurts you. But, I mean, you're just putting the tight end one-on-one on a guy like this. Just a simple inside move.
Might be 2-down territory. Or 4-down territory, better put. It's 3rd down and 5. Out pattern thrown, and now the decision. Omarius Hines makes the catch about 1.5 yards shy of a 1st down. You're down 2 touchdowns. Now you've got an All-American level kicker. You could kick a field goal here. But in a game like this, a rivalry game inside the 30-yard line on 4th down and a solid 2, do you go for it?
He's going to kick it. And I think you bring up a good point. I mean, you're a 6-5 team. You're down 14. But again, Bob, what do you call? You know, when your quarterback's struggling, you don't have a power back, your tight end's out. He just doesn't have confidence he can make it right here. That's why he's kicking the field goal.
And they fake it. Trey Burton dives very close to the 1st down, and it looks like he's got it. Well, Will Mudd has a decision to make, and he does it with misdirection.
Well, John Crowfoot, number 47, is their holder. Red flag should have gone up when Burton was in there. But still, you got a big power guy carrying that ball. It's a good call. It's a good call. Really a good call. Let's take a look at the end of this play. 80. Well,
Nick Alajasian, who normally is a guard, wearing an eligible number tonight so he can play tight end. and give the Gators at times a 6th offensive lineman when they try and run the ball against a big defensive line for the Noles. A little bit of a nudge with the foot. Might have gotten away with one. End around. And there's room for Solomon Patton. That might be a horse collar. Brought down inside the 20-yard line. Crowd looking for a flag. Cornelius Carradine out on the edge. Brought down Solomon Patton, and that was very close to a horse collar tackle.
Well, first of all, the effort by Carradine. 270 pounds. Let's see if I can find him. I think he's right here. But just watch him chase this ball. Yeah, kind of a little zone blitz. He's dropping into coverage. Now, that's 275 pounds.
And that's a horse collar.
You think it was?
He definitely brought him down by the horse collar. He may not have grabbed it full on.
A pony collar. I mean, that was a semi now, don't you?
Rainey weaving his way up the middle, and he's close to a first down. About a half-yard shy. It'll be 3rd down and 1 as coach already in a mood about, what is it, about 9 months short of your first game back on the sidelines to argue with the officials?
Where's my fullback? You got to get Hunter Joyer in there. Give him another carry right here. Yeah. It's Hunter Joyer time again.
12th play of the drive, and by far the best for the Gators, trying to keep it alive. 3rd down and 1. Hunter Joyer.
Going to become a household name. State of Florida.
Christian Jones made the stop, and it might be decision time again for Will Muschamp. Does he have the first down? It might be 4th down and about a foot. They're going to have to measure as the ball is, I think, inches shy. They spotted the football just inside the 15-yard line. And it looks like he barely came up short. And it's 4th down and about 6 inches.
Yeah, I think you have to go for it here.
It'd be a bitter pill to swallow to fake the field goal on a 4th down only a few plays ago, and then have to kick it on 4th down at 6 inches.
Take advantage of that 4th down conversion. Obviously, the best thing to stop penetration is just wedge blocking. Either run the sneak or hand the ball to the fullback in there. But don't take the ball off the line of scrimmage because there's just too much explosive penetrating ability by Florida State. Looks like they're going Wildcat.
Yeah, they'll line up with Trey Burton, who played quarterback last year.
Yep.
And Urban Meyer's offense.
Amazing, though. I mean, you're a pro offense. You make the transition. There he's under center now.
And he'll sneak it. Very close. All of a sudden he pops out and goes backwards. The play wasn't dead yet. And Burton loses yardage all the way back to the 30-yard line. That's like a turnover. Brandon Jenkins met him in the hole.
Going to see the penetration by Florida State first of all. If you watch the center of this Florida State line, look at the penetration.
Wow.
They are beating them at the line of scrimmage. I mean, just beating them to the punch with penetration. How about that? Have you ever seen a negative 18-yard play on a quarterback?
Little insult to injury, or vice versa, as Kyle Coney, the starting guard for the Gators, heads off with an injury after Florida loses 14 yards on a quarterback sneak attempt on 4th down and inches. Force an effect of a turnover. It flags down. That might have been an illegal shift against Florida State on the handoff to Devontae Freeman. It looked like 2 players in the backfield were sliding left, so should be a 5-yard penalty against the Noles.
Illegal shift. 2 men in the backfield moving at the same time. 5-yard penalty. Repeat first down.
But, Coach, more adversity for Florida and their offense to try and bounce back from.
It really is. And, I mean, you can't, but you just love to take those mistakes Florida has made and just see if Florida's defense can play as good as Florida State's defense on an even field.
First and 15 after the penalty. And now Manuel backs up in the shotgun. Gators with 1 deep safety. They rush only 4. Manuel to the sideline. Has a wide open receiver. Coming back to make the catch is Rodney Smith, and he jukes close to a first down as we check in with Wendy Nix.
Bob, thank you very much. A Taco Bell studio update. Another in-state ACC-SEC tilt. South Carolina and Clemson at Williams-Brice. Connor Shaw connecting with Bruce Ellington. 49 yards, just like they drew it up. And the Gamecocks up 10-0 over Clemson on ESPN.
Basketball out there, and I keep saying the word pursue because they are pursuing.
All right, Wendy, thanks very much. That might be the best rivalry game in football nobody knows about. On the handoff to Devontae Freeman. Second down and a foot, and he does pick up the first down. Jelani Jenkins made the stop, but you know, Coach, it's amazing how often you will probably in your head run through all the great rivalry games in college football. And South Carolina Clemson might not necessarily trip off the tongue the way this one does, or Auburn, Alabama, Ohio State, Michigan, but boy, that is about as bitter a rivalry as there is.
About rivalries, I mean, the thought that Texas A&M, you watch that game Thursday night, Thanksgiving night, that atmosphere at Kyle Field, schools probably 90 miles apart. For Texas and Texas A&M not to play like Florida State and Florida, what a shame.
Freeman to the edge, and he might have lost a yard or so. It'll be second down and long. Earl Okine made the stop. And I think, Coach, this is a good example of a game where there's no reason why Texas and Texas A&M can't keep on playing. I mean, Florida State and Florida are in opposite conferences. They play at the end of the season. South Carolina and Clemson. And there are plenty of examples of rivalry games of teams that aren't in the same conference but have a natural hatred for each other. Play at the end of the year.
Florida and Florida State are in 2 tough conferences. They'd love to play a non-conference game that would be more easily winnable. But for the good of this state, they play each other every year. That's the way it should be.
Manuel under pressure off his back foot and throws it away. Jelani Jenkins came to the blitz. Now it's 3rd and 11, and they may call intentional grounding. A flag got dropped. They may rule that he was not outside the pocket.
Intentional grounding. Number 3 of the offense. The ball will be placed at the spot of the foul. Ball's down.
Florida coming with the linebacker blitz, the old cross blitz. You're going to see this one come here. And Jelani Jenkins come in behind him. He's clearly in the pocket. Good call.
Well, Florida still has 2 timeouts left. There's 2:15 to go, and they might have changed field position right there by forcing intentional grounding. If they can get a stop here on 3rd down and get the football back, plenty of time to try and put points on the board before halftime, especially considering how effective their last drive was until it stalled at the 15. Devontae Freeman brought down immediately. Might have lost a half yard. Sharif Floyd makes the stop, and Will Muschamp should call a timeout, and I think he did. And some pushing and shoving as well after the whistle. And it looks like Florida did spend a timeout with 2:05 to go here in the first half. So the Gators are down to 1 timeout left, but they're about to get the ball back and might get really good field position.
There's some talent in this game. Watch Sharif Floyd right here, this defensive lineman. Wow. I mean, that's a man right there. 300-pound guy out of Philadelphia. Steve Addazio recruited him here to Florida, who is now the head coach at Temple. By the way, went 8-4 this year, his first year as a head coach. Outstanding job. But there are some young, talented players on this field.
Want to hear something scary about number 73 there? He was 3 pounds 7 ounces at birth.
3 pounds 7 ounces.
He was a premature baby. I think he ate well to gain that weight back. He's actually lost 30 pounds since he came to Florida.
That Pedialyte they put him on,
whatever
worked wonders.
Whatever formula Mom bought for 73. Every premature baby out there should be on that diet, because you are right. That is some kind of an athlete at 295 pounds, and he's lost 30 since he came to Gainesville.
I think these 2 defenses, I think they could go at it all night long. All night long. Take away the turnovers, and you can't, but these are even teams.
2:05 to go before halftime.
Florida State in this shield punt with the 3 big guys back there. It's where you always just attack that shield. But again, Florida State #1 in the entire nation in net punt. This is a strength for Florida State.
Line drive kick. It's returnable. Saunders backpedals to about the 18-yard line. Tries to get outside and picks up a block. Nowhere to go. Eventually down at the 18-yard line. 1:49 to go in the first half. Only one timeout left for the Gators.
I'm Wendy Nix in our college football studios. Coming up on the Outback Steakhouse halftime report, has the BCS game been set? Todd McShay and Robert Smith offer their opinion. We'll also preview the conference championship game and 2,926 days of misery in for Michigan fans. We'll explain coming up.
All right, Wendy, thanks very much. Last year, Florida State ended a 6-year run of misery against the Gators. And they're off to a good start tonight. John Brantley, though, over the middle. As a man, it's Quentin Dunbar, and that digs them out of the hole. And now it looks like Brantley's hurt. A gain of 21, but Brantley's down.
He got sandwiched, huh?
Brandon Jenkins really buried Brantley just after he let go of the ball.
Yeah, Bob, it almost looked to me like he got sandwiched between two players.
Timmy Jernigan from one side, Brandon Jenkins from the other, and Brantley,
took a lick.
I don't know if he knows where he is right now.
That's dangerous right there. Particularly when you're in the process of releasing that ball, you really have no protection. You are so vulnerable.
Is that a penalty? Is that helmet to helmet?
That's tough, but yeah, I mean, you bring up a valid point as we look at this.
I mean, not that in any way Jenkins was trying to lead with his helmet as a weapon, and it might have been unfortunate that Jernigan bumped him into his helmet, but that was still helmet-to-helmet contact.
And that's the problem coaches have with that rule, and that's a problem I think officials have with that rule.
Here's the true freshman, Jacoby Brissett, has to come in for Brantley, and he'll try and make a play. Keeps the play alive. Brissett finally goes down, picked up about 3 yards on the scramble. And John Brantley being helped, it looks like, back to the locker room now. Jacoby Brissett. His first ever start as a true freshman this year came against LSU. So he has seen about as good a defense as there is in the country. Now he goes up against Florida State. And a pretty good pass there that A.C. Leonard looks like couldn't hold on to on 2nd down and 7. Well, that'll be 3rd and 7.
You play in Florida State, the #7 defense in the country, and it's true freshman to true freshman. Obviously, A.C. Leonard should have made that catch.
Down 14-0 as well. I'm not sure if you can afford to be that conservative with your play calling here.
Well, on the other hand, though, Florida State sitting there with 3 timeouts, 56 seconds. You don't convert this, they're getting the ball back.
Brissett under pressure. And he goes down. And now it looks like from that sideline on the opposite side, it'll be a timeout called by Jimbo Fisher to stop the clock.
They just can't block them, Chew. Cannot block them.
And we will step aside here in Gainesville. As we went to break, you might have seen the game clock wind all the way down to 34 seconds, but the clock operator didn't immediately acknowledge the timeout that was called by Jimbo Fisher before 4th down here. So they have reset the game clock to 47 seconds, and with 2 timeouts and the clock stopping for first downs
and I'll say this,
closing moments, that's a lot of time.
There was a time when Florida State with Mickey Andrews and Jim Gladden and Chuck Amato with the best punt block team in all of college football.
Reed able to field the kick at about the 27 and get out to the 31. Frankie Hammond made the stop for the Gators, but pretty good field position. And a reminder, watch Sunday NFL Countdown tomorrow. The best in the business. It's Chris Berman and his posse. Tom Jackson, Keyshawn Johnson, Mike Ditka, Chris Carter, Chris Mortensen, Adam Schefter. They'll provide all the news and the latest updates from stadiums around the league right up until kickoff. Tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. Eastern, it's Sunday NFL Countdown presented by IBM.
What you worry about here, those big, tall receivers. Rodney Smith, 84 at 6'6". When Florida State puts 4 wide receivers out there, they put 4 wide receivers out there that scare you.
High snap pulled down by Manuel and a trap handoff to Devontae Freeman. He picks up about 3.5 or 4 yards. Jay Howard brought him down, but that was a snap that almost snuck over the head of a 6'5" quarterback.
I don't really understand that call. Obviously, they're playing just to let the clock run out. But if you're going to do that, really, why call the timeout on the previous play? If you're going to let it run out, go ahead and let it run out. I guess they were going to try to see if Greg Reed could give him a punt return, and that was it.
So the story in many ways of the first half is John Brantley. He leaves the game with a shot to the head. On top of it, throws 3 interceptions, 2 of which lead directly to Florida State touchdowns. And that's the first half, 14-0.
You hit the nail on the head, Bob. It's all about what does Florida do offensively, and can John Brantley recruit physically and mentally at halftime?
Let's find out with the coach. Down to Janine.
Coach, we saw John Brantley leave the field immediately. Give us an update.
Well, we'll check him when we go in. Excited about Jeff Driscoll and Jacoby Brissett. They're going to be great players for us. They're going to need to play in the second half.
You were already thin in some positions, and we saw Easley and Coney and now Harrison, so you don't have a whole lot of options left in some positions. What do you do?
We're short on numbers. We're going to be all right, though. We're going to play the second half. They've got 39 yards of total offense. We've given them 2 turnovers inside our 20. That's the game.
Thanks, Coach.
Well, the positive side is where Will Muschamp opted to go. He's got true freshman quarterback he's excited about, and his defense has played well. It's halftime, 14-0, Florida State. Now it's to the studio on the Outback Halftime Report.
Next show right here, baby. Showtime.
Welcome back to College Football Primetime, presented by Miller Lite. Set for the start of the second half, a 14-0 lead for Florida State over Florida. Bob Wischusen alongside the coach, Bob Davie. Janine Edwards with us here in Gainesville as well. We get right to the expert breakdown, brought to you by Farmers Insurance. And, Coach, it's pretty simple in terms of how the first half played out. It was defensive takeaways for Florida State and an inability for John Brantley to get anything going early, and then he takes the shot and leaves the game.
Yeah, amazing. What Will Muschamp tell us Tuesday? We did that conference call. It's been a case all year of Florida beating Florida, and the first half's a great example. 2 really good defenses. Key for both offenses, don't turn it over. John Brantley, here's the first interception. Here's the second interception into quadruple coverage. Here's the third interception, 2 by Greg Reed, and then this play right here. On 4th and about 6 inches, they put Trey Burton under center. They end up losing 14 yards. It's only 14-0 at that point. And here's the end of the second half where Brantley gets sandwiched.
So a big injury, obviously, to Brantley. He leaves. Doesn't look like he's going to come back. And we also find out that Brandon Jenkins, one of those big defensive ends for Florida State, also out of the game with concussion-like symptoms. And it might have been on the same play. So Florida State starts the second half with the football. And it'll be LaMarcus Joyner on the run back. Joyner finds a crease all the way out to the 40-yard line. Let's check in with Janine.
Hey guys, there's an awful lot to talk about here with injury reports. You just mentioned Brandon Jenkins. He is out of the game for Florida State, as is punt protector Stanley. He is out with a sprained knee. But more importantly for Florida, John Brantley is not returning to the game, and neither is defensive tackle Easley or tackle Kyle Coney. None of those three will be returning. So Will Muschamp said, my offensive line has got to pay the best 30 minutes of football that they have ever played.
Well, they're going to have to find a way against a really good defensive front, even without Brandon Jenkins, to protect a true freshman quarterback, whichever true freshman it is that plays the majority of the second half, and that's Darren Kitchens, a reserve linebacker for the Gators, who gets hurt on special teams as well. So, Coach, it's a rivalry game, and it's kind of a war of attrition right now as each team is losing very important players to injury.
And really just the personal, I guess you say, drama of John Brantley.
We'll talk more about that when we come back to Gainesville as the injury timeout continues. Nothing scarier in football than a player being knocked unconscious, and it looks like that is what has happened to Darren Kitchens, the backup linebacker for the Gators. You can see Will Muschamp hovering over the huddle, and he's obviously concerned. Coach, it happens on a kickoff play. It's been an issue in the NFL. We'll see if college football goes even further to address it, but the NFL, where they kick kickoffs from to try and create more touchbacks. They've also, as we've always known it in the NFL, outlawed the wedge. Now it's only a two-man wedge, kind of has to come together at the last moment, a judgment call for the officials. Do you expect more legislation in college football, specifically on kicking plays like this, to hopefully eliminate what we're seeing right now?
Yeah, it's a dilemma. I mean, Greg Schiano had a proposal that you really eliminated the kickoff altogether. And certainly when you see the kind of injuries we have right here and the injuries they had at Rutgers on a kickoff, you can see why he would be so emotional about that. And it's a great point. You know, my only problem is so many walk-ons, so many guys that aren't starters get a chance to make a name for themselves and get a chance to play on kickoff and kickoff return. So if you take that away, you really take away an opportunity for a lot of those guys. It's their only chance to play. But there's no question there is a higher percentage of injury on kickoff and kickoff return because you've got guys running full speed in the open field. So they've changed a lot of things. You're not allowed to block below the waist. You're not allowed to have a wedge anymore.
Right.
You know, it's just unfortunate that that happens, but you know, I'd hate to see them take the kickoff out because so many guys get a chance to play that would not otherwise play.
You're about to get back in this game as a head coach. And I'm sure you probably had moments as a head coach, as a coordinator, where you've got a player that's knocked out. And you see Will Muschamp standing over the top of a young man that you know he feels responsible for. He's a guy on his football team. I mean, what are the emotions for a head coach in a moment like that?
Yeah, it's just like your son down. You know, if you go into coaching and you take the approach, every one of these guys I'm coaching, I'm going to treat them and coach them like they're my son. When he's down on the field, you envision that being your son. So, I mean, it's difficult. It's difficult on everyone right now. But keep in mind, they err on the side of not moving that player. I mean, these training staffs and these doctors have so much expertise that let's not jump to the most negative conclusion right here, because stability, keeping him from moving, is what they want to have happen right now. So hopefully this all works out. But yeah, I mean, it affects everyone, particularly an injury of this magnitude.
Well, the crowd's starting to react as they have now stabilized Darren Kitchens, and it looks like they are going to lift him onto the back of the cart. In case you're just joining us, this is an injury that happened only moments ago. The kickoff to begin the second half. He was hit with a helmet-to-helmet play and immediately crumpled, and it seemed as if he may have lost consciousness. And they have him completely immobilized.
And one thing you always think about in these situations, you know, these trainers always have the parents' phone numbers, and they contact them immediately.
Is that right?
That's the best policy, yeah. So, you know, the communication, obviously, to the parents is critical right now.
Well, let's also maybe keep our cameras on Kitchens as he's brought off. Sometimes you'll get maybe a thumbs up, some indication from the player as he leaves the field as to whether or not he has at least a level of consciousness that gives you some encouraging signs that he might be okay. But it looks like they have him completely immobilized, and there's the thumbs up. That's what you're looking for. Every time one of these plays happens and you see the player on the cart give you the indication And you can actually read his lips. I think he said, "I'm all right." That's got to be scary to all of a sudden, whatever that feeling is of being knocked.
Yeah, that's real life right there. That's a real life situation.
Well, now we get back to pretend, which is football. And the opening kickoff of the second half for the Seminoles, of course, they won the toss and deferred their option of the second half. So they start the third quarter with the football, but real life right now taking place as the training staff is staying with Kitchens as they will bring him back into the tunnel. And if Janine Edwards is able to get some information from the trainers as to his condition once he is examined, we will pass that along to you as quickly as we possibly can.
From a team standpoint, from a coaching standpoint, it's always difficult right now to just flick that switch and go back and play. But that's what you do.
So back to football. But our minds certainly on the status of the young man in the tunnel, Aaron Kitchens. We'll check in with Janine as soon as we can to find out if there is an update on his status. But 1st and 10 for the Noles at their own 41. Straight quarterback run with Manuel. And he's close to midfield. A gain of 7.5 to 8 yards on first down. Jelani Jenkins was there to make the stop.
That's an impressive athlete. E.J. Manuel, big, strong, showed his explosiveness right there. I mean, Florida State, what, 36 yards total offense in the first half?
Well, that was the point that Will Muschamp made going back to the locker room. You're down 2 touchdowns, but look, our defense has held them to under 40 yards of total offense. And off at a first down and more, though. Devontae Freeman picks up close to 7 as we check in with Janine, who's down in the tunnel.
Well, Bob, as the cart came by me right here, I could see that Kitchens did have his eyes open, and one of the assistant trainers was speaking with him, and he was listening. I didn't see any movement in his hands or his legs, but they were holding him still. They wanted him to lay still. And about 5 minutes ago, an ambulance pulled into this tunnel right here and has been sitting here waiting, and they just closed these gates here, so I can't see beyond that, but they did take him back towards the ambulance.
All right, Janine. Well, he did give the thumbs up to the crowd. That was shown on the big screens here at the Swamp. So the crowd reacted. We saw the thumbs up. That's probably the best we could hope for at this point for Kitchens. 1st and 10. Tipped ball over the middle. Incomplete. Dangerous throw from Manuel through the hands of Christian Green. And Josh Evans was lurking for a possible interception. It will be 2nd down and 10 for the Noles. And now it looks like they will go no huddle to try and confuse the Gators with their substitutions. And the Gators running players off late, trying to get lined up. Gators, I think, have 10 players on the field. Florida's a man short, and they might have to call timeout. They do. Florida very quickly, just before the snap, ran Sharif Floyd off the field, and it looks like he was the 11th player that should have been out there. So the no huddle by Florida State accomplishes at least forcing Florida into enough confusion that the Gators have to waste a timeout as we take a look at some of our first half numbers.
It's all about that turnovers and points off turnover. That and field position.
You know, if someone was looking at these stats and just covered up the score, said who's winning? -1 rushing yards, 39 total yards, 1.6 yards per play, but 3 turnovers and 14 points on the opposite side of the ledger. Is there a statistic, I mean in any sport, Coach, that influences the outcome of the game than turnovers in football? I don't know if you can think of one.
That's it. And that's why Florida comes into this game 108 in turnover margin. And it's interesting because their defensive coordinator, Dan Quinn, came here from the Seattle Seahawks, where Pete Carroll made a name for himself in college football, winning the turnover battle. But they have not forced many turnovers this year, and that's probably the biggest thing that they're disappointed in.
The action fake by Manuel, being chased, and he'll go down. Sacked back at midfield. Jay Howard got there. Ronald Powell in pursuit as well. A loss of 5, and now it's 3rd down and 15.
Yeah, you're going to watch Jay Howard. He's going to be right there. Great penetration, and he shows his speed. You don't find defensive linemen like this everywhere. On this field tonight between these two teams, there are a lot of NFL-type defensive linemen playing in this game.
Third sack of the game for the Gators. Third down and 15 for Florida State right at midfield.
He's been running the ball in these situations, Jimbo, and just punting it.
Here comes the blitz. Manuel tries to take advantage up the seam. Knocked away. Into the hands of Jared Higgins, and he couldn't hold on. So the Noles will have to punt from midfield, and the Gators will get it back down by 2 touchdowns.
Hard to find guys like Matt Elam. You're going to watch number 22 right here. He's the nickelback, just playing kind of a man under coverage. Never really looked back to the ball. Brother plays in the NFL. Matt Elam will be playing in the NFL with his brother someday. If Abe can hold on and hang and play that long. Now, Abe's been playing a long time already.
He's found a home in New England, at least for this year, but a former Jet, former Cowboy with Bill Parcells as well. Best punter in the country, trying to change field position, and he barely gets it away. And it goes way up in the air. And takes a Florida State hop, but will roll just inside the 20-yard line. You wonder if that might have been nicked with the ball flight that came out. Solomon Patton was coming on the punt block for the Gators. It's only a 32-yard punt for the #1 punter in America.
Yeah, he came off the edge completely clean. See DJ Durkin right there, their special teams coach, does a great job. Came here with Urban Meyer, actually played for Urban at Bowling Green. You're going to see at the very top of the screen, he's going to come clean. Really just he kind of dove up in the air instead of laying out. If he'd have laid out flat or parallel with the ground, I think he would have blocked that thing.
The ball actually touched at the 25-yard line, so that buys the Gators a little more field position. And Jacoby Brissett, and a quarterback now, hands off to Chris Rainey. You can join host Reese Davis and analysts Kirk Herbstreit and Craig James for BCS Countdown. Sunday night, they'll reveal the latest BCS polls and analyze who are the contenders and pretenders. BCS Countdown presented by Tostitos on ESPN tomorrow night at 8:15 Eastern and continues on ESPNU at 9 Eastern.
That landscape changed in a hurry as far as that BCS championship. With Oklahoma State going down, then Oklahoma goes down the next night last week.
Rainey tries to drag tacklers for a first down and comes up a yard shy, brought down by Bjorn Werner. So now it's 3rd down and 1. And coach, you look at the landscape in the second half of this offense for Florida. Without John Brantley, turning it over to a true freshman, Jacoby Brissett. They've got another true freshman, Jeff Driscoll, on the bench. Will Muschamp said he felt great about both players, but there's really not much experience in that backfield.
You feel great about them in spring ball, looking at them and athletic ability and getting them ready. I'm not sure he feels great about them going against this defense right now.
Let's see what Charlie Weiss dials up on 3rd down and 1. The Gators are 1 for 8 on 3rd down. They'll go with Gillislee. And he, on second effort, tries to move the pile, and he might have gotten there. The officials might have blown the play dead before Gillislee was down. And it looks like they might mark him shy of the first down.
I mean, Everett Dawkins, the defensive tackle, just comes clean on penetration.
That's a tough spot. But if I'm Will Muschamp, I'm saying you guys blew the whistle, and I'm not convinced that play was over, and now it's 4th down and 1. Was he stopped? Should they have blown the whistle when they did? Let's listen in and see if we can pick up the whistle when it was blown and when it should have been blown. That's a bad whistle. He was knocked down, and that play was not over. That should have been a first down for the Gators.
Well, that's a judgment call. Obviously, that's not reviewable as well.
Well, now a bobbled catch at the 30-yard line. Greg Reed does well to hold on to the punt.
As much as Florida's struggling, let's think about the 3rd and short, 4th and short in a 14-0 game that they've not been able to convert. It still comes back to Florida State's defensive front, Shu, just manhandling them up front. And you really know right now, this Florida defense, there is absolutely no margin for error. I mean, if Florida State can take it down and score, that may be insurmountable for the Florida offense. So, I mean, there is no margin for error at all for this Gator defense.
And the Gators probably need a takeaway at some point to turn this game around, although Will Muschamp has all the reason in the world to be upset. Jermaine Thomas changing direction a couple of times. And he will still be on his feet and lose yardage all the way back inside the 20. All in all, it's a loss of 11. Matt Elam was the first there to force him back before the Gator gang tackle. And there's a flag down back inside the 20-yard line as well. A flag drops out late.
After the play, dead ball, personal foul, number 52 of the defense.
Wow.
15-yard penalty, automatic first down.
So Jonathan Bostic called for the personal foul after the play is over. Only a moment earlier, Will Muschamp got a bad whistle on a 3rd down and 1 that shouldn't have been blown dead. Right now, his team should still have possession of the football.
Let's take a look at Bostic. We're going to see exactly what happened. Let's look for 52 right here. I mean, it's silly, right? I mean, it's silly. I mean, what a major penalty. I mean, that would have been 2nd down and
2nd and 21.
21. Now it's an automatic first down.
Well, Coach, you brought it up earlier this year. Will Muschamp has seen his team in multiple losses have it be Florida beating Florida rather than the opposition beating Florida. Manuel off a play-action fake on first down. Flag down for holding. Manuel will scramble and get out to about the 41-yard line, but this will be coming back. Seabrae Sanders called for holding.
Yeah, they held William Green, another defensive lineman, and you watch the effort of William Green after he's held. I'm really impressed with how these linemen run on both sides of the ball.
Holding, number 77 of the offense. 10-yard penalty from the previous spot. First down.
How do you call the rest of the game if you're Jimbo Fisher? As we take a look at the penalty here, 77.
Just watch Green the whole way.
I guess my question is just philosophically. You've got a 14-point lead, a true freshman quarterback on the other side. They have not been able to move the ball against your defense. Now it's 1st and 20. Let's see what they call on 1st and 20. Conservative on the handoff to Lonnie Pryor. He picks up about 2.5. Quickly, we check in with Wendy Nix.
Bob, thank you very much. We check in on Stanford Notre Dame on ABC. Andrew Luck to Kobe Fleener, his 78th career touchdown pass that passes John Elway for the most all-time in Stanford history. And the Cardinal leading Notre Dame 14-0. And on ESPN, South Carolina with a 7-point advantage over Clemson at the half.
All right, Wendy, 2nd down and 17 here in Gainesville. Screen set up, and it won't go far. Rodney Smith is brought down, and Coach Davey, now it's 3rd down and 15. Sharif Floyd there on the stop of Rodney Smith.
Yeah, this is a clinic for defensive linemen. Sharif Floyd that time. You're going to watch him retrace his steps. Watch right here, 73 on this screen.
Is this anything but draw on 3rd and 15?
That's the smart thing to do, particularly when you have the #1 punter in college football.
And there's the draw to Thomas. And the Gators, predictably, are ready for it, a gain of only 2. But is that kind of the philosophy we'll see from a play-calling standpoint the rest of the game for Florida State until circumstances warrant something different?
Yeah, I mean, it's ugly right now. You're just trying to survive offensively and hope you punt the ball. I mean, penalties on both sides. But again, just, the penetrating defensive fronts make it so difficult. There's no question Florida needs to block a punt or make a big play in special teams.
6th punt of the game, and this one much different from Sean Powell. That looks like an All-American punt. And the return man lets it fall. It gets touched inside the 10. Deontay Saunders lets it go over his head and costs his team at least an extra 10 to 15 yards of field position. A 62-yard punt.
ESPN's College Football Primetime, brought to you by Audi, truth in engineering.
Welcome back to the Swamp. They've had their hands in their pockets or their arms crossed a good portion of the night as the Gator fans have seen Florida State control a 14-0 lead. They're trying to get that chomp going, but their offense again starts deep at the wrong end of the field with a true freshman at quarterback. And Jacoby Brissett, play action fake from his own goal line, launches one down the sideline for DeBose, and it's broken up. Almost intercepted by Xavier Rhodes.
Mark Stoops just lines up with an 8-man front safety right up on the line of scrimmage to the weak side. It's just man-free coverage. Xavier Rhodes just won that battle. Mark Stoops has done a heck of a job. Comes in here his second year, takes advantage of all these talented guys Florida State has. Keeps it pretty simple, and lets them play.
Second down and 10. Straight back to throw again. Here's Brissett. Slings it left. Nice move made up the sideline by Burton. But he retreats a bit. Only picks up about 4. It'll be third down and medium. Christian Jones out in space to make a nice tackle on Trey Burton.
Trey Burton, actually, I think Florida's second leading receiver behind Jordan Reed. Just haven't had much productivity out of the wide receiver.
Here's a big play. Third down and 5 midway through the third quarter. And Florida, even if they just want to change field position, needs to pick up a first down.
An interesting formation here on 3rd and 5 in this kind of a wing set, almost a running formation.
2 tight ends. And they'll roll Brissett. Here comes the pressure. The freshman at the goal line. Throws it up the sideline and just throws it away. He did get out of the pocket, but a flag comes out. Cornelius Carradine had him at the goal line.
Did the ball pass the line of scrimmage?
That's the judgment call.
I'm not sure I like the play action.
They call him for an ineligible man downfield.
Did you like the call? I mean, it's 3rd and long. You kind of get in a running formation and run a bootleg type action.
Ineligible receiver downfield on the offense. That penalty is declined. 4th down.
Carradine's had a nice night.
He's in pursuit here, and Brissett, this will give a head coach some palpitations at the goal line. Somehow stays on his feet, just gets rid of it.
That's a big, strong quarterback.
So now the pressure on Kyle Christie. The punt from the goal line. And he gets away a good one. This will drive Reed back all the way to his own 35-yard line. And Reed to the 50. Breaks another tackle. All the way down inside the 25-yard line. And a late flag comes out. A flag thrown after the tackle was made, but Greg Reed, a 42-yard punt return after a 52-yard kick.
We may have called a late hit on Florida State right there at the end. Kind of out-kicked the coverage right there.
Dead ball personal foul, number 9 of the receiving team. 15-yard penalty, first down.
It'll still be great field position for Florida State. It'll be plus territory field position, and tonight they have averaged midfield as their starting field position.
Yeah, you said it. I mean, that was a low-line drive punt. Greg Reed's had a heck of a night. And you'll see at the end where the late hit. Watch number 9 come in right there. He went and got one late. But Greg Reed's 2 interceptions in that punt return. He's had a heck of a night.
1st and 10 inside the 40-yard line for the Noles. Manuel to throw to the outside. It's dropped. Should have been intercepted by Elam. Had it right in his hands. Did Rodney Smith rip it out, or did Elam simply drop the ball?
Well, it's amazing. Matt Elam lined up on the wrong side of the field. Switches to get over at the last minute. Boy, fine line, huh? Fine line. That could have been going the other way for 6 right there. Matt Elam just makes the play. Let the ball get into his body. Didn't really use his hands.
Quarterback draw. Manuel following his blockers. Picks up nearly 7. Jermaine Thomas helped pave the way for E.J. Manuel.
If you're Jimbo Fisher, you asked me a minute ago the mindset calling plays. You're quickly getting in the mindset of, look, just don't turn it over. If we don't turn it over, we're going to win this game. I mean, he has to be very cautious. Quarterback runs right now, screens, conservative. Don't make the mistake.
I'm a Jets broadcaster, by the way. Looks like Jimbo Fisher with those towels there is worried about a Spygate situation. Hiding his signals from the sideline. 3rd and 3. Here comes the blitz. Manuel throws one off his back foot short of Burt Reed. Well, now it's 4th down and 3 at the 32-yard line of the Gators. So from here, you're looking at about a 50-yard field goal. And if you make it, it's a 3-score game against a team that hasn't put a point on the board yet. What would you do?
It's a great kicker. That's the biggest point right here. I mean, the kicker, Dustin Hopkins, he's 20 for 24 on the season. More importantly, he's not had a field goal blocked all year. Did miss one last week, a 42-yarder to win it. I mean, if you're going to wear those gold shoes, you better be good. So a little pressure on him right here.
His long this year is 53. This one from 50, and it sails wide to the left.
Got to credit this Florida defense. They are hanging in there under some adverse conditions. Is there any way Florida can make a play on offense and just make this a game?
Well, they'll get a chance with pretty good field position now at their own 32-yard line. Another dodged bullet by the Gators after a big kick return by Reed. And now, how heavy does that personal foul after the play is over, Lou?
That's a great point, Bob. You go back and look at the little things that happen in the game. Yeah, because that's an automatic field goal at the least if they don't have that late hit personal foul.
And then it's a 3-score game against an offense.
Sack the backs, yeah.
And these guys can't move the ball and can't score any points. Let's see what the Gators do now from their own 32. Flags fly. It'll be 1st and 15.
Can't execute.
Good job by Vince Williams to pull away Timmy Jernigan before he does something silly.
False start. Number 75 of the offense. 5-yard penalty. 1st down.
Let's take a look tonight at what it's been for Florida. Now, obviously, when they had John Brantley in the game, those are the turnovers and also.
Yeah, this one right here. That's on the 4th and 1 when they tried to quarterback sneak that lost 14 yards. That was their best opportunity all night.
Those are the last 8 possessions for the Gators. Well, Brantley had 3 interceptions before leaving the game.
Trying a little wildcat now.
They've got Trey Burton lined up to take the snap. On 1st and 15. And Burton manufactures something. The option up the middle. The handoff to Chris Rainey. He got about 3 to 4 yards, so it will be 2nd down and long.
It's interesting, Florida State. No fear factor at all. I mean, Mark Stoops lining up basically 8-man front every down. Not disguising it, just saying, here we are. No fear factor that Florida's wide receivers can beat their corners, particularly because they know the pass rush from Florida State so good. So Florida State, here they are again, just 8 guys right up in that box.
Shovel pass, going nowhere. It lost a yard. Rainey is buried right at the line of scrimmage by Everett Dawkins. And now, when you're trying kind of a gimmicky scheme on offense, you set up 3rd down and 12.
You're going to watch Big Dawkins. He's right here from the backside. I mean, that shouldn't be that hard of a block.
So now Jacoby Brissett finds himself in the same position John Brantley found himself in all year last year. The Gators would struggle with some gimmicky looks on offense on 1st and 2nd down, and on 3rd and 12, they'd send Brantley out there. Now Brissett looks at a blitz on 3rd and long. Up the seam. He's got a man, Hammond, who didn't turn to look for the football. It was underthrown. Hammond had a step, but by the time he turned to locate the ball, there was no chance he could stop and get back to it.
Yeah, you said it exactly right. I mean, Florida State goes to a 3-deep coverage. See Mark Stoops talking about jamming the number 2 receiver. The number 2 receiver goes right down the pike. Right there. He's open between the corner and safety. But you said it. The timing was completely off.
Wobbly kick, a low one. Returnable for Reed. Fields the line drive and is brought down immediately.
I tell you, he is a fearless little guy. He will go attack that ball.
37-yard punt. He lost 3 on the return. As we take a look at this week's BCS standings, brought to you by Tostitos. And yes, I think everybody is jealous of the SEC. Number 1, number 2, number 3, and number 1 looked very much like it. They fall behind by a couple of touchdowns and then dominate Arkansas yesterday the rest of the way. Alabama convincingly in the Iron Bowl. Can LSU even lose the SEC championship game and not end up in the overall BCS title game?
They say even if these...
Manuel over the middle, and that is good for a Florida State first down, out close to the 43-yard line. Is there any scenario?
I think that's the point. They actually asked Les Miles about that yesterday. He said, I don't care what the scenario is, we're going to play our best game in the SEC championship. But that's out there, that even if they lose, they'll be in the national championship game. But, Bob, to move the football in this conference against these defenses, I mean,
Manuel gets to the edge. A flag down.
You're going to get a hold.
He's all the way down the sideline.
Better hope we get a hold if you're Florida.
The Florida State sideline celebrates, but this should be coming back. And it looks like it'll be Zebree Sanders again for a hold.
Yeah, you said it. The big left tackle.
So wipe away a 57-yard touchdown run by E.J. Manuel as he got to the perimeter, but should not have, as Sanders is called for the hold.
Holding. Number 77 of the offense. 10-yard penalty from the previous spot. It remains first down.
It's obvious. Big Zebree right here, the left offensive tackle. Got those hands outside. Shoulder pad comes up in the air. Florida really bad angles right there in the secondary. They're fortunate, those defensive backs, that was a hold.
But it changes field position in a big way again. Sets up first down and 20 as a result. And another spot where the Gators should get a stop on defense. See if they do. Again, trying to turn the corner. Jermaine Thomas, and he doesn't have nearly the success that Manuel just did as Bostic got free and made the stop. A gain of only 2 as no flags on the play. It'll be second down and 18.
You have the feeling that if you're Florida's defense, just stopping them isn't enough. I mean, it has to be turnover. Because I'm not sure your offense, if they just let the punter from Florida State punt again, he's going to kick it 55 yards. So unless you get a turnover or block a punt, I'm not sure Florida's offense can do anything with it.
Manuel up the sideline, out of bounds. Intended for Christian Green. Now it's third down and 18.
Abe Elam's impressive. That time man-to-man on the inside slot receiver. Chases him all the way to the corner route and makes the play. I remember Urban Meyer and me sitting in his brother's house down in South Florida when we recruited Abe Elam. And now Matt Elam followed Urban here to Florida. That's a great-looking player.
How about the story that family's been through?
Tragedy. Tragedy.
Losing a 6-year-old younger sister and or daughter to a shooting. The older brother of Matt Elam as well. Lost to a shooting in his hometown. And now the Gators, I think, have to call timeout defensively as they were trying to get lined up. 14-0. Florida State has the lead. Back in a moment. One of the all-time greats for the University of Florida, Mike Pouncey, was playing his pro football in Florida as well. Paved the way for Tim Tebow and some national championship teams. And the Pouncey brothers both playing center in the NFL as Mike Pouncey was the 15th overall draft choice of the Miami Dolphins back in the spring. He is here tonight. And boy, wouldn't Will Muschamp like to have him out there run blocking as his team can't put a point on the board. Third down and a long 18, close to 19 now. Tremaine Thomas out on the edge, brought down as he got about half of the yardage necessary. So it will be a punt situation from midfield. Edwards will be speaking with Mike Pouncey in just a moment.
All night, the field position. You know, I mean, you're looking at right now, Florida State with 77 total yards. But they really have controlled the field position. The average start for Florida, their own 19-yard line. Again, Florida State's defense never out of their comfort zone at all. I mean, Florida has done nothing from a field position standpoint or an offensive standpoint to really challenge them.
You wonder if they have to make a play at some point, either on special teams or on defense.
It's a great punt.
They'll take a gator hop into the end zone. And Sean Powell almost killed it inside the 10. Let's check in with Janine.
Well, Mike, you and I were talking before the game about this rivalry. For people who maybe are not raised in Florida, how do you describe the significance of this game?
It's electrifying out here, man. The fans are into the game. The players are out there playing hard. Both teams are playing a great game. And it's a great football game to be at right now.
What's going through the minds of the Gators? If you were out there tonight playing, you lose your starting quarterback, you have several injuries, one serious injury. How does that affect you as you're out there on the field?
Well, the defense is playing great, man. I know what the guys on offense is thinking right now. They're waiting for somebody to make a play. And we're looking for, I hope Chris Rainey can step up and make a play tonight. But I know what the offense is thinking. They're waiting on somebody to make a play. But our defense is playing great right now.
All right, we'll let you enjoy the rest of the game, and thanks for stopping. Guys?
All right, Janine, thanks very much. Now it's Mike Gillislee, who has been more of the workhorse of tailback here in the second half for a gain of a couple for the Gators as we check in with Wendy Nix.
Bob, thank you. A scary moment here for Baylor's Robert Griffin III on the move. Hit hard by Cornelius Daniels. RG3 would stay in the game, actually scored this touchdown, but after you can see he's woozy, experiencing concussion-like symptoms, so he is being held out of the second half of this game for precautionary reasons. Bob?
That is scary, Wendy, no question. And Robert Griffin's got a chance maybe to contend for the Heisman as a dark horse as Hunter Joyer gets down the sideline. Bob Davies, #1 option on offense tonight for the Gators, comes up about a yard shy of a first down. It'll be 3rd down and 1.
You know, the way this game's gone, you know, you kind of have to slap yourself and say, you know, it's only 14-0. As bad as it's been, it's a 14-0 game. If Florida can somehow just generate some kind of a play.
It's Jacoby Brissett, true freshman from West Palm Beach, in at quarterback. John Brantley knocked out of the game in the first half after throwing 3 interceptions. 3rd down and 1, and the Gators are 1 for 11 on 3rd down. Quarterback sneak, and it looks like Brissett has it. When it's that much of a challenge just to move the sticks one time, you wonder how could they move them 6 or 7 more times to get to the end zone.
You know you should play action right here. You know you should, but you're so afraid if it's incomplete and it's 2nd and 10. Now it's such an uphill fight, so you get ultra conservative, just trying to make 10 yards instead of making a play down the field. It's hard.
On 1st down, Brissett goes play action. Slings it to the sideline, and it's knocked away. Great break on the football by Mike Harris, who has one of those 3 interceptions tonight for the Seminoles. And there's your 2nd down and 10.
Well, when you have corners like Harris and Reed that close like this, I mean, they close on the football. That's fun. It's fun to coach when you have guys you can lock on outside, and then you have those penetrating type players inside.
Well, you can see the chop of those Noles fans kind of sprinkled through all the blue and orange. 13 seconds to go in the 3rd quarter. 2nd down and 10 as the Gators are now behind the chains.
Just 8 of them lined up in the box.
Hand off. Demps lost a couple.
And that's that 8 guy. I mean, that's Terrence Parks lined flat up on the line of scrimmage. You have 7 blockers trying to block 8 guys.
4th quarter coming up here in Gainesville. 10 plays for negative yards tonight for the Gator offense. A terrific atmosphere here at the Swamp. But it's been special teams and defense that has done it for Florida State so far. They lead 14-0. Set for the start of the fourth quarter. Third down and a long 12, close to 13 for Florida. With a true freshman at quarterback. A swing pass into the flat, and it is knocked down by Bjorn Werner, and he almost picked it off. It's been that kind of night for the Florida offense, no matter who the quarterback's been.
Well, what you try to do is get the defensive lineman's hands down. See Florida right there. Poor job of a chop block by the left offensive tackle. Good athletic player, Bjorn Werner.
So the Gators try to at least again change field position. Reed calls for a fair catch at about his own 30-yard line. Pretty good punt by Lerner of 41 yards. You know, something of a theme this week from the media that had as much to do with this rivalry between Florida and Florida State is the surprising relationship between the two head coaches. Obviously, Will Muschamp and Jimbo Fisher have spent a lot of years together and have grown to be very good friends on the same staffs. They were at Auburn. They both coached under Nick Saban and won a national championship at LSU. And they bought a beach house together in Panama City, Florida, when they were assistants under Coach Saban. They still co-own that house, and that became the biggest story in the press conferences at times this week as Jermaine Thomas crab crawls out to about the 38-yard line. And the two friends had a chance to spend some time before the game. Now, I don't know. I mean, did Bo and Woody think they would have shared a beach house?
Well, these guys, they kind of downplayed that beach house all week, as they should, because in this state, in this kind of rivalry, you can be good friends, but none of these fans want you to show it. I promise you that. You know, so they really downplayed it. I mean, they bought that beach house, I guess, back when they were assistants with a few other people. Of course, what they're making now, they can definitely upgrade and buy their own beach house. Both these guys in the top 15 paid coaches in the country.
Yeah, I don't think that a fan of Alabama would want to know that Nick Saban and Gene Chizik were sharing a beach house
together. They don't want to think about you roasting marshmallows together down at the beach, you know.
Ronnie Pryor dumped on third down and a yard. Short of the first down. Matt Elam made the stop, and again, a terrific job done by this Gator defense as it looks like they're about to get their offense the football back. Coach, you're back to that same situation. If on special teams or defense, at some point, Florida can just make a play, they might have a chance to make a game of this, but the clock is winding down. Their defense really can't do a better job than they've done tonight.
When you see DJ Durkin just signaling safe punt here because it's 4th and short. So you have, obviously, you're going to get no punt pressure, and you're not going to get much of a return. So it's going to be on this Florida offense to drive the ball.
Florida State has 5 first downs. An ugly punt. And that's going to roll all the way down inside the 20-yard line and get the job done. More than get the job done as it rolls inside the 10. A 50-yard punt. Not Sean Powell's prettiest, but it worked. Fourth quarter continuing between the Gators and Noles, and it's been a smart football game played by Florida State so far tonight. A strike, though, thrown out to the 20-yard line and diving for a first down after the 23 is Quentin Dunbar. And Jacoby Brissett moves his team out across the 20-yard line, but it has been field position and mistake-free football played by Florida State as they're going to make Florida go the long distance of the field in order to get some points on the board.
The first time tonight we've seen an actual timing route where the quarterback just set his feet and threw the ball.
A drop now. Brissett threw it low, but Frankie Hammond needs to come up with that football as he drops it at about the 31-yard line. It'll be second down and 10.
Like Florida, Charlie Weis wanted to pick up the tempo here a little bit. You see him in a lot of these tight kind of bunch-type formations. Hammond has to make that catch.
Brissett running for his life. Throws an interception. Picked off by Terrence Parks. Down the sideline for the touchdown.
Cornelius Carradine's had a heck of a night. Watch the left defensive end, Carradine.
Not fooled at all by the misdirection in the backfield. And as a result, it's a room service interception for Terrence Parks at a touchdown. And Florida State, it's been all turnovers, 21-0. They have 86 yards of total offense and a 21-0 lead.
ESPN's College Football Primetime is presented by Triple Hops Brewed Miller Lite. Taste greatness. And in part by Chase Freedom. Don't get shortchanged. Get your cash back with Chase Freedom.
Welcome back to College Football Primetime, presented by Miller Lite, part of the SEC on ESPN. If you're just joining us, you might think that Florida State has put on some type of an offensive clinic tonight. 21-0, the Noles have the lead. You'd be wrong. They have 5 first downs and 86 yards of total offense. And Bob Davie, they've got a 3-touchdown lead.
4 interceptions. It's the story of the game.
Line drive kickoff that will scoot past Rainey out of the back of the end zone. Pressure on the quarterback can do wonderful things for guys that are lurking in the secondary, and that's what just happened.
You're going to see Carradine right here. You're hoping that this little misdirection freezes him enough. He doesn't bite. Gets up the field. Again, a poorly advised throw by Jacoby Brissett. He throws it right to Terrence Parks. Brandon Jenkins, Florida State's great defensive end, out. They just keep shuffling guys in there.
Rainey runs into his own man and gets shoved all the way back inside the 10-yard line. They'll give him progress to the 15. It's still a loss of 5. Telvin Smith forced Rainey back about 12 yards.
It's a desperate feeling. And if you're Will Muschamp right now, you can't get it solved. And now they're just teeing off on you.
It's 11 offensive plays tonight for the Gators for negative yards. Make it 12. Rainey lost another yard as we check in with Wendy next.
Bob, thank you. We check in on another in-state rivalry. South Carolina, Clemson, the Gamecocks leading 17-10. Then Connor Shaw finds Rory Anderson, and they're happy in Williams-Brice. It's 24-10. 3 minutes left to play in the third quarter. Harrison Barnes in North Carolina getting set to take on UNLV, the #1 team in the country, in action immediately following our football game right here on ESPN2.
All right, Wendy, 3rd down and a mile. The draw play to Rainey. And he will get across the 20 to about the 23-yard line, 7 yards shy of the first down. And Charlie Weiss with the draw on 3rd down and long. At that point, I guess just doing anything he can to avoid a turnover, and now Rainey's down. We already saw John Brantley's senior night end with what might be a concussion as he was sandwiched between 2 pass rushers of the first half after throwing 3 interceptions. And now we see another of these Florida seniors going down with an injury, and it looks like it might be the right leg or right knee of Rainey.
Kind of came down right on that right knee. Jammed it into the ground right there.
Maybe it's his right hip. So Rainey is injured. And coach, earlier in the game, in case you missed it, the reason Jacoby Brissett is playing quarterback for the Gators, John Brantley had a nightmare his senior night. That hit what could have conceivably been helmet to helmet, and Brandon Jenkins, who was part of the sandwiched hit on Brantley, he even left the game with concussion-like syndrome. He has not returned either, so that could have been a double concussion on one play. The defensive player and the quarterback both leave the game, and now Rainey hurt as well.
Well, Florida became bowl eligible last week. I think they trailed Furman, what, 22-7 early in the game, but they came back and beat Furman. So it's 6-6. They will go to a bowl game. And that gives them so much valuable time. You hear it all the time, but gives them so much practice time. I mean, it's like having another spring practice. So even though you're 6-6, to get to a bowl game, trying to make this transition into a pro-style offense.
With two true freshman quarterbacks. And those might be the two guys that will benefit from that extra practice time the most, as we will step aside here in Gainesville. It's been a long night for Will Muschamp. Lost his quarterback. He saw his quarterback before John Brantley left the game, turn it over, and just about hand the game to the Seminoles, and hasn't gotten any better after the punt. Fair catch called for and made by Greg Reed. And you can get ready for bowl season with the ESPN Bowl Bound app. Video, news, and analysis, the latest BCS standings, and weekly projections as well. ESPN's Bowl Bound app, free on iPhone and Android. Text BOWL to 43776 to download. Bob Wischusen with Bob Davie and Janine Edwards here at the Swamp, and Charlie Weis with his true freshman quarterback on the sideline, trying to come up with any solution for the last 10.5 minutes to generate some offense. And really for the Seminoles now is just about not turning it over and making sure they play mistake-free football with a 3-touchdown lead. And they play it safe with Manuel on a quarterback run. Lost the ball, but it pops right back into his arms after a gain of 8. Looked like Matt Elam jarred it free before Manuel went down.
Florida State now with 95 total yards in this game. This really has been probably their best play. E.J. Manuel needs to hold that ball a little more securely, tighter to his body right there. But that's a big athletic quarterback carrying that football.
That was a fumble, as Manuel for the second time tonight has recovered his own fumble. 2nd down and 1. That's a first down for Jermaine Thomas. That is only the 6th first down of the game for Florida State.
You have to keep in mind that Will Muschamp's first year as a head coach. I can speak from experience how difficult that is. When you go 6-6 at a place like Florida, there's going to be a lot of unrest. So he's being thrown in the fire right now immediately. But boy, you see defensively just how talented they are, how good they can be. They've got a lot of issues to solve offensively.
Cutback run by Thomas. Not much there. Maybe picked up a yard.
Then you look at Florida State. They'd won 5 straight games. Going into last week, they get beat by Virginia at the very end. Had a lot of momentum, but they lost at home on a controversial kind of ending. Missed a 42-yard field goal.
Still in all, this will be the first time since the 1998-99 seasons that Florida State will sweep the state championship games here in Florida and beat both Miami and Florida twice consecutively each. Manuel, he's going to lose a bunch. All the way back to the 32-yard line. Matt Elam made the stop along with Jelani Jenkins as we check in with Janine.
Well, Bob, it's starting to become more apparent that this Gators defense is really starting to run out of steam. And defensive coordinator Dan Quinn has been imploring his guys to give him everything he's got. He compared it to a 12-round fight. He said, we are in the 12th round, and this is the most important round, guys. Give me everything you have.
Well, Janine, there's no question they have been out there a ton tonight, but they're still making plays.
Yeah.
As now it's 3rd down and 20.
We've got to figure out the total number of plays for loss in this game. I don't know if I've seen, there's another one. I don't know if I've seen a game with more negative offensive plays on both sides of the football.
Sharif Floyd made that stop for the Gators. And a drive that began for Florida State at their own 41-yard line, or actually at about their own 30-yard line. They pick up a 1st down and then go backwards about 12 yards and are forced to punt. "21 total plays in the game for negative yards."
That's amazing. Yeah, 21 total plays.
Purifoy now back deep to receive the kick. That is shanked up the near sideline. And it'll be Florida ball at about their own 40-yard line after a 32-yard punt. 6:55 to go. But the Gators need a miracle. It's been since 1988. The 2nd longest streak in FBS that the Gators were last shut out. That's a long time to play a game without putting points on the board. But just making a 1st down tonight for Florida has been an accomplishment against this Florida State defense. Catch made by Amarius Hines, and no gain. He might have fought forward for a couple of yards of forward progress. Yes, he'll pick up about 2.5. It'll be 2nd down and a long 7. Four-man rush for the Noles. Reset. Fires one over the middle. Should have been intercepted again. Davis Comack had it in his hands at midfield for what could have been interception number 5 tonight for the Florida State defense.
Well, again, you're going to see the great pressure shoe right off the bat. I mean, these defensive ends just smelling it right now. Number 91, Carradine. You got a lot of choices for most valuable player tonight. I mean, Carradine has had a great night. Greg Reed has had a great night. Matt Elam's played outstanding for Florida.
Another sack.
That's another negative play.
Everett Dawkins gets this one on Brissett back to the 31-yard line. And it'll make it 4th down and a mile with under 6 minutes to go. Will Muschamp will punt.
You're going to watch Dawkins come around on a twist stunt that time. 66, the center, no chance. I mean, it doesn't matter if it's Brantley. It doesn't matter who it is back there.
A game that maybe only Buddy Ryan could love. As neither offense has gotten anything going tonight. But Reed with a fair catch at the 34-yard line. The Florida State defense has taken the ball away, pressuring quarterbacks. They have turned every opportunity into a plus play defensively.
This Florida State game is concluded.
All right, Wendy, thanks very much. And this game on the scoreboard might have concluded a while ago as Florida State, with Jermaine Thomas getting to the edge, might have picked up about a half yard, but the Gators have not been able to get the ball into the hands of their playmakers at all, and there is one of their playmakers as we take a look at our FaceTime profile brought to you by Edward Jones. We know one thing, Jeff Demps can run. He is fast. That is a lot of NCAA track championships to rack up, but when you're on the indoor or outdoor track performing for Florida, you don't have 300-pound guys that can run like the wind that wear garnet and gold chasing after you. And it's been that kind of a night, unfortunately, for Jeff Demps and the Florida offense. Jermaine Thomas lost the ball. And it is picked up by Jay Howard to the 20-yard line of the Noles with 4:32 to go. The only mistake that Florida State could possibly make in the game. And they just made it.
Yeah, that was really a good effort play. Watch the Florida defensive player right there just strip it out. Jay Howard picks the football up. I'm not sure who that was. They were down on the ground, got up off the ground and stripped it out. I mean, if you're Jimbo Fisher, you're sick. You know, he is the offensive coordinator. And you're sitting there right now with 85 yards of offense.
You could win the game if your running back just goes out there and falls down. Just don't fumble it. So Brissett, under pressure, launches a Hail Mary into the back of the end zone, and it's incomplete with a flag down. It looked like Andre DuBose was the intended receiver. But Brissett, as has been the case all night for the Florida quarterbacks, under duress and simply threw it up for grabs. Deontay Thompson in the area as well.
Pass interference on the defense, number 20. 15-yard penalty, automatic first down.
You see how strong Brissett is. I mean, as you said, Bob, I mean, he was running for his life from the time the ball was snapped. Really strong. I mean, he threw that ball about 35 or 40 yards off his back foot right there. You really have to think, if you're Florida, some kind of little shovel pass, you know, something. Those linemen just charging up the field that fast. Some kind of a little inside trap off a draw. I mean, they have just sprinted up the field all night, that defensive line.
So it's 1st and goal for the Gators, as Florida State now has more penalty yards than they have total offense, and they're winning by 3 touchdowns. Back of the end zone, catch is made, and it's a touchdown. Quentin Dunbar, the flip from Jacoby Brissett. And finally, Florida is on the board.
Great job of keeping that foot in bounds, Dunbar. Charlie Weis loves these play-action passes on the goal line. Let's see how. Was that left heel on that line?
I think he's in bounds, and that a pretty good look at it. That's a good catch.
Great camera angle. These officials are really good. How they make these calls in real time. Now, is it onside kick time? I would think it is.
How could it not be? We've got another injured Gator being helped off the field. John Halapio, one of the starting guards for Florida.
Turnovers. Is it amazing? In a game with these two defenses being as good as they are, the only way the offenses can score on both sides are off of turnovers. And Florida State, just a chance to run the ball and punt it. I don't know that Florida could ever score in this game, and they just gave them one.
Here's a statistic I never thought I would ever see in a football game, as the extra point is tacked on. The team right now that is winning by 2 touchdowns has 16 more penalty yards than they have total offense for the game, and they're up by 2 scores.
This is our last game together.
I mean, that's almost impossible.
This is one to remember.
You can't run back to the sideline fast enough. Then watch.
I'll tell you though, these are really, Bob, again, I mean, it's a frustrating night for offenses, but don't underestimate really how good these defenses are. They are both attacking style defenses with really good players.
Well, it certainly looks like Florida State is preparing to receive an onside kick, or at least guard against it. And you'd have to think down 2 scores, 4:16 to go. I mean, if you're still coaching to win the game, you're going to try an onside kick.
Oh, and they're still coaching to win the game. So it will be onside kick right here. This is another one of those plays, onside kick and onside kick return, that you don't get to practice much full speed because of injury. You know, it's hard to take just, and they changed that rule where you have to keep 4 players on one side of the kicker, where you just can't super overload to try to take away some of the risk of injury.
Well, the Gators looks like they're going to send the majority of their players to the near side left. They've got several players with, you would think, ball skills, as DeBose is over to the near side along with Rainey and a group. But LaMarcus Joyner has dropped all the way back to the Noles at about the 20-yard line, just in case Caleb Sturgis tries to pooch it into the dead area over the 10 players that are up guarding against the onside kick. So we'll see which direction the Gators go.
Well, usually the middle roller you see where the kicker kicks it straight ahead is a surprise onside.
And now LaMarcus Joyner comes all the way up to try and guard against the onside kick, which was loose, but covered up by Greg Reed.
He's had a great night, Greg Reed. He's a fearless player. I mean, he attacks it on punt return. He attacks it when he's in the secondary. He made another play right there. So he drilled that onside kick.
For a moment, it looked like they got the bounce they might need, but Reed was able to cover up. Off to Thomas, and Jermaine Thomas spins into traffic, picks up about 3 yards as a helmet comes out of the pile as well.
Well, the shutout record, what was it, 1988, the last time Florida had been shut out?
That's safe.
That's safe.
And I'm sure if there are any Gator fans watching us right now around the country, or maybe even out in the parking lot, that's really a little salt in the wound.
You don't think that made that?
We're trying to make that like the silver lining to their performance tonight? I don't know if Will Muschamp cares too much about avoiding that record with the performance, unfortunately, tonight by his offense.
You have to think quarterback run.
Manuel with a keeper. Turns it up for a gain of 3.
Number 3, E.J.
And there have been a lot of injuries tonight. Let's go down to Janine and get the latest on some of the players that have left the game.
Well, Bob, it's a night that can't end soon enough for Will Muschamp and for the Florida Gators training staff. I have never seen a busier training staff dealing with everything that's been happening in a game. 8 injuries, 7 of them starters. Quarterback John Brantley never came back out after halftime. And of course, we did see that Kitchens had to be taken to the hospital, Shands Teaching Hospital, which is on campus here at the University of Florida. So for the Gators, that about sums up their night. It can't end soon enough.
Well, Florida just spent the timeout, Janine, with 3:21 to go, setting up 3rd down and a long 5 or so for Florida State. But Will Muschamp is going to lose to Florida State in his first opportunity in this rivalry game, as last year Urban Meyer in his final season with the Gators.
So you're saying
lost for the first time to Florida State.
You're saying all precincts are in. You're making the early call on this one. You know, it's only a 2-score game
with 3:21 to go and 1 timeout.
You're stepping out, making that early call.
I might go out on a limb and say that I think the Noles are in pretty good shape. 3rd down and a long 5 for Florida State. And they will keep it on the ground with Lonnie Pryor. And he is close to a 1st down. It'll be 4th down, it looks like, in about a foot. And the clock stops as the Gators will call their final timeout. And we'll see what Jimbo Fisher decides to do on 4th down.
We too getting set for college hoops coming up. North Carolina facing UNLV in just about 6 minutes. Bob, once we're done with this football game.
Shu, I've got to give you the Iron Man of the week. Thursday, you fly to Lincoln, Nebraska. Yesterday, we did Iowa, Nebraska.
Yep.
Tonight, we're doing Florida State, Florida. Tomorrow, you are doing Jets against Buffalo. And then you get into the basketball thing this weekend, right?
Yes, on Tuesday night, the Big Ten ACC Challenge will be at Purdue for Miami at the Boilermakers after the Jets play the Bills tomorrow afternoon. And in between, I might be able to reintroduce myself to my 5 children.
Well, 5 children under the age of 10 years old. I should probably give that award to your wife, that Iron Man.
By far. 4th and a yard, and they'll go for it. A bootleg by Manuel. Flips it up the left sideline, and that's a first down catch by Jermaine Thomas. Thrown out of bounds, and that'll be a penalty on Matt Elam. And this could get ugly.
Yeah, we don't need this.
With a lot of flags flying, the last thing that a game that has seen so many injuries tonight needs is all of a sudden benches to clear and some type of a brawl to start. And it looked like Jimbo Fisher was getting in the face of some of his players on the sideline for jumping on the field and maybe starting something.
Greg Reed came off that sideline with no helmet on.
Well, as ugly as that might have gotten for just a moment, that was a great job by Jimbo Fisher and the Florida State coaches to make sure that no emotions boiled over and they got their players back on the sideline.
It all started with Matt Elam kind of slinging the receiver down, and then the Florida State bench reacting. They're not going to make this one easy. They're not going to just let this rivalry fade into the sunset as maybe it should right now, the way this game's gone.
We'll get the call.
There was 2 fouls on the play. Dead ball, personal foul. Number 22 on the defense. Dead ball, unsportsmanlike conduct. Number 5 of the offense. Those penalties will offset. The line to gain was made, and it will be first down.
Now keep in mind, number 5 is a defensive player for Florida State, so he wasn't even on the field. You're going to see Matt Elam right here.
That's a frustration penalty on Elam.
Now you're going to see number 5 coming off the bench.
So Greg Reed gets the penalty for Florida State. Matt Elam for Florida. But it's a first down for the Noles at the 26-yard line of the Gators with 3:06 to go. And a good job by the Florida State coaching staff to make sure that they immediately quelled things over on the sideline. And that almost ruined what has been a terrific gameplay by Reed. Reed has had a heck of a night on special teams with a big punt return and also with a couple of interceptions. Lonnie Pryor bounces it outside. A flag down, and why not? With 2:57 to go.
Negative plays and penalties.
And if this is against Florida State, and you would think it would, they had just gotten to the point where they had more yards than penalty yards.
Number 85 of the offense. 10-yard penalty. Remains first down.
That's now erased. Before that penalty, Florida State had 89 yards of offense and 87 penalty yards, or 86 penalty yards. So they had just inched the ratio back up to more total offense than penalty yards. Well, that gets erased now. It's 96 penalty yards against the Noles to 89 yards of total offense.
Might just start taking a knee. Right?
Down to the last 2 minutes and 40 seconds. First down and 20. And here's Lonnie Pryor. So a gain of 1. Gang tackled and sent backwards. First by Omar Hunter and Sharif Floyd. Gators are out of timeouts, so Florida State can wind the clock. Even if they fail to pick up a first down here, they can take the clock all the way down inside of about 40 seconds to go. And it was ugly. It was defense tonight. It was takeaways. Pretty good play on special teams as well for the Noles. And for the second straight year, they are going to beat the Florida Gators after having lost to Florida 6 consecutive games going into last year's meeting. Pryor, no gain. And we're down to 90 seconds remaining. And some long faces, some of those Gator fans that somehow found their way inside the Noles section. And Charlie Weis, a frustrating night as well, as he lost a senior quarterback and his true freshman couldn't move the ball either.
Well, Shu, this is our last game together. We've only had 1 year together, but I've really enjoyed it.
Coming up next, we will have basketball as UNLV and North Carolina are underway. Third down and long. Pryor to about the 30-yard line. But, Coach, that was actually what we wanted to say to you. Was tough one tonight, but the end of a great 10 years. So from everybody at ESPN, obviously, I had a great year with you, my only year, but best of luck.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
You're back doing a lot more for college football. As great as you were in the broadcast booth, now you're going to touch the lives of young men the way that I know you want to be able to again.
Yeah, ESPN. I mean, you start with guys like Ed Lacey, the coordinating producer, right on down the line. I mean, it's been a great 10 years, and I appreciate it.
It was fun.
I need a guy in charge of logistics out of New Mexico, so you always have a spot.
Yeah, if you need a traveling secretary, I was proud to play that role with the coach. And he was never late this year for any production meetings. Very important as the final seconds wind down, and Janine Edwards wants to chime in as well.
I just want to wish Coach Davey the best of luck. We only worked together a few times this year, but you were a joy and a pleasure to work with. And Bob and I will get you back to Orlando safely, I promise.
By the way, Janine, you're driving, so.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I'm driving. Okay, I'll get you there.
Thanks, Janine.
Thank you.
So Coach Davey will take over officially after tonight. His ESPN career over, and a new one begins, a new beginning in New Mexico as the head coach of the Lobos. And college football coach, better off for having you back on the sideline.
Thanks, Shu. Appreciate that.
So on the change of possession, one more snap for Florida, and that will make it official as the Noles back-to-back seasons not only beat the Gators, but also having beat the Canes this year. That's 2 straight years that Florida State will have beaten both Florida and Miami, and that's the first time they've done that in back-to-back seasons since the 1998-1999 campaigns. And that means a lot, Coach. As you know, you're about to get back in it in terms of recruiting in this state. When you're beating your arch rivals in state, and really all the talent you would ever need to maybe win a national championship is in this state, that's got to be a big edge in terms of getting players.
What you see is Mark Stoops has this defense back. It looks like those Florida State defenses of the late 90s. Just an attacking group with a lot of young players. And they're winning the recruiting battle right now. I think Jimbo Fisher took advantage last year of beating Florida, carrying that momentum into recruiting.
And now on the 4th down play, see if Manuel takes a knee or if they'll simply let the
There's
last
another negative play.
10 seconds wind down. Manuel finally takes a knee with 4 seconds to go. One last negative play, and now the Gator offense, believe it or not, with 4 seconds to go, is going to come out on the field. Well, you might not have appreciated this game as an analyst from kind of an aesthetic standpoint, watching it up here, but you know for that guy, hey, the final thing that matters and the only thing that matters is what that scoreboard reads when you walk off the field. You win back-to-back years over your arch in-state rivals. Great job by Jimbo Fisher. Find a way. And tonight they minimized mistakes and they found a way. And Charlie Weis and the Gator offense just couldn't get anything going.
We're going to run another play here.
Jacoby Brissett off a play-action fake. Somehow avoids a sack. Buying some time, and he'll get bumped out of bounds, and that will make it official. The in-state rivalry game between Florida State and Florida for the second consecutive year goes to the Noles. And they get to dance around with the Gator. Some pretty good fins with an opportunity to shake hands. 21-7, Florida State wins it. For our crew here in Gainesville, so long. College basketball in Las Vegas now.